knowing how church is trending in the country, less and less people are going to church, and I thought that would be an interesting place to do pastoral care, to do this work, because that what Vermont is right now is the direction that the rest of the country is headed towards, of less people going to church. And while I was there, talked to a lot of patients and their families who said things like, I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious, and the mountains are my church, and things like that. And so this is after my first year of seminary. I start kind of connecting the dots. Talk about, you know, what I was saying earlier, if it took me a minute to marry, like, the thru-hiker version of myself, which I really hold very near and dear to my heart and is a big, important part of who I am, but also this part of me that feels called to be a pastor. And so it was that summer that I kind of like started to combine the two and say, actually, there's really something here. A lot of people say that they feel most connected to God when they're outdoors and go hiking to try to find that.
Welcome to Backpacker Radio, presented by The Trek, brought to you by LMNT. I am your co-host, Zach Badger Davis. Sitting to my right is...
Hi, I'm Juliana Chaunce, a.k.a. Chaunce.
March 23rd. We missed... Your birthday was 2 weeks ago?
In theory.
And in practice?
In practice, next weekend. Not this weekend,
well,
next weekend. In
release time.
In release time last
listener
weekend.
brain.
Yeah, listener brain last weekend.
Got it.
Happy episode 350.
Yeah.
We celebrated in the moment without you.
That's good. What was the 350 theme?
There wasn't one. It was just like, wow, that's a lot.
What a celebration. No one took a shot or anything?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. A few reminders.
Do you want to?
Nah, I got a beer. I just opened a beer.
I mean, we're celebrating 350.
Yeah, cheers.
All right, cheers. We'll cheers for it.
Yeah.
Look how old we've become.
If
this was episode 50.
I mean, 50 is probably a bigger milestone than 350.
You'd be doing one of those measuring cup gin shots if it was episode 50.
Yeah. Times have changed for your boy. I can get hungover off of, this could probably get me hungover. I'm going to go home and chug some LMNT.
Same.
But, yeah.
They, I've got, like, omeprazole is an acid reflux pill my doctor told me to take when I get really bad acid reflux. But they gave me some anti-nausea pills for when it's, like, really, really bad.
Zofran?
On occasion. I don't know what it's called. It's, like, some generic name.
Yeah.
But I tend to usually take those more on nights that I've drank. Because it's not even the next morning now. And I'm not saying drank like she's drinking.
Yeah.
I'm talking... Like, when we left the episode with Elise and me and her and Josh went to the bar to meet her friend when they were on, I counted the next morning. I think I had a total of 3 drinks. Hungover by 1 a.m.
Yeah. No, as you get older, it gets significantly worse.
It sucks.
You just wake up hot in the middle of the night, and then you don't sleep. I'm pretty sure that a hangover is mostly just shitty sleep. If you can figure out some pill to take that allows you to sleep through an alcohol consumption, I think you've cut the hangover by 80%. But, yeah.
See, for me, a hangover is all nausea. So if I can cut the nausea, there's no hangover.
Oh, interesting. We've
Yeah.
got very different. I don't
Bodies.
ever have tummy issues, tummy troubles, but
You don't ever have tummy troubles?
not from drinking.
That's the trait about you I hate the most.
Yeah, but I feel like a dumpster fire the next day, mostly just because I'm awake every 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Not a good feeling. Reminders. Yes. The first one is, if you're not already subscribed to the Trek's newsletter, what are you doing? This is where all the best stuff goes. We do gear giveaways, and we just wrapped the Badger sponsorship, raised over $27,000 for Outdoor Alliance. Fucking awesome. Thank you guys so much for that. This is where jobs get posted at the Trek, which are hard to come by. So if you want to work for this big rock and green cruise ship, you got to be subscribed to the newsletter and the best content from the website. Every Friday, we send out a hand-curated list of the best articles from the past week. So if any or all of those things sound of interest to you, head to the link in the show notes to get the Trek's newsletter. Next is, I know you guys listen to this, but do you watch it? We're here. We're in the flesh.
Guys, for these show notes specifically, or for this pre-show interlude specifically, this is one to watch on YouTube. There were just a lot of moments during the episode where we showed things to the camera.
Yeah.
For example, we got some really gnarly feet pics about 28 minutes in, and I brought it to the camera to show them.
What's the story there?
Just feet on the long trail.
Trench foot?
Yeah, like getting close. they're feet that you've seen before if you've done hiking in water environments, wet environments, but it's always fun to see.
Yeah.
And then we got a really interesting, cool photo at the end of the episode when we were winding down an arrest while in priest outfit was dropped. And the photo there is just like, you'd think it was on the front cover of some big magazine. Crazy photo.
Yeah, you shared the photo, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I was wondering, I'm like, I've seen this. I don't know how I've seen
Well,
this.
because I was like, can you text this to me? I've got to send it to Zach and them.
Yeah. It does look like it's the cover of a Vice.
It's just so funny because Lyndsay is so nice and warm and smiley in person. And then she shows that photo and she is mean mugging.
Yeah. She looks
And that,
fiery.
I think, is what threw me off the most. Is like, ooh, you got a scary side.
Yeah. Love that. A little foreshadowing, but I'm not involved on the interview in this one.
No.
At first I didn't think I could make it because I was sick, and then I couldn't make it because my wife got very sick.
Yep.
She went to the ER that night. So.
Yep. But me and Jess had fun.
Yeah. Can't wait to hear it. Last but not least, Backpacker Radio YouTube. Go like, subscribe, comment.
Yes.
Comment what your... you should, since you were at the interview, I wasn't, you should have a prompt.
Ooh, there's so much you could go with it. Comment I don't want to make this religious, so take the religious part out of this. I'm making this spiritual, if you think about maybe the differences there, but comment a specific place on a trail that you have felt that like vibe most. You know what I'm saying? Like there was a time on the PCT where I was going through a burn zone and the music in my headphones was hitting and the sun was setting and the light beams were going through the trees and I was so tired I thought I was going to fall to my knees. And I had a moment there where I was like, this is like a textbook movie image of like the person like falling to their knees as the lights come through the whatever.
Sure.
So a moment like that, just a spot on trail that you've thought like, damn,
Yeah. If there's not a God, there's something.
Yeah, there's something.
Something good. Last but not least, if you enjoy this podcast, the best way to support us is via Patreon, patreon.com/backpackerradio. For as little as $5 a month, you guys can support the show, and you get every episode advertisement free.
Yes, ad-free is huge, and it's also huge for us to have the support. 350 episodes is no easy feat to get to. It does obviously take a lot of time. We've been here 9 years, but also a lot of effort and a lot more than you see if you're watching the YouTube, for example. It's a lot more than just us two in these seats. There is a lot of effort and work and people that go into this podcast besides the two of us, and having your support on Patreon helps us make sure that we can keep the show running and we can do it in a way where we're treating the team really well too. And yeah, as little as $5 a month. If you see when you go on there that it's as little as $7.50 a month, try going on a desktop and going on your browser and going to Patreon instead, because some places that are fruits that aren't oranges or bananas but start with the letter A might put a upcharge on the pricing if you go that route, and that feels wrong because it doesn't go to us, it goes to them.
Agreed. Also, Patreon folks, hit us up. Let us know what you want to hear on Patreon. We're here for you. We aim to serve. All right. Let's get right to today's interview with Lyndsay Wreckage Monsen.
When you sweat, you lose a lot more than water. You're burning through sodium, potassium, magnesium, all the stuff your body needs to keep going strong on trail, thinking clearly, and sleeping well at night. That's why I'm a huge fan of LMNT. It's a zero-sugar electrolyte mix with a science-backed ratio that's heavy on sodium, which is exactly what thru-hikers and long-distance backpackers are losing all day long. No sugar, no junk, just what your body actually needs. When I'm backpacking, I'll usually drink one LMNT throughout the day and then have another packet before bed. It helps me rehydrate, keeps the leg cramps away, and I'll wake up feeling like $1,000,000. Another underrated benefit, LMNT makes those dodgy water sources actually taste good. If you've ever filtered from a silty creek, a cow tank, or some lukewarm pipe coming out of the ground, you know how clutch that is. It's not just an on-trail thing either. LMNT is my go-to hangover prevention tool. One packet before bed, another in the morning, and you wake up hitting the erase button on a night of bad decisions. My favorites are lemonade, raspberry, and citrus. A cold element lemonade on a hot day tastes like absolute heaven. And the citrus works shockingly well as a no-calorie mix-in for a backcountry margarita, perfect while car camping, or the lazy version at home. Good news, Backpacker Radio listeners can score a free LMNT sample pack with any drink mix purchase by going to drinklmnt.com/thetrek. That sample pack includes citrus salt, raspberry salt, watermelon salt, and orange salt. 2 stick packs of each flavor, 8 total. No coupon code needed. Just use the URL. Again, that's drinklmnt.com/thetrek to get 8 free packets with any drink mix purchase. The deal is only available for a limited time. Hi, welcome to Backpacker Radio, presented by The Trek, brought to you by LMNT. If this is not recorded over, I'm your co-host, Juliana Chaunce, and sitting to my left is...
Jess, a.k.a. Sassafras.
Yay! Zach is out today because he's sick, and he will probably record over this with some reminders, but if he doesn't, reminder that... we are on YouTube, and that's great. Go there, follow us, watch us, and join us on Patreon. We love the people that support us there. They help us keep the lights on, yada, yada, yada. It's a lot of fun. And today we have a very fun interview with Lyndsay Wreckage Monsen. Lyndsay has hiked the Appalachian Trail, Long Trail, Superior Hiking Trail, and Colorado Trail all in the past 4 years. In addition, Lyndsay is studying to become a Lutheran pastor and often finds opportunities to weave lessons from her hikes into her preaching and spirituality. Lyndsay, welcome.
Thank you.
This is fun.
I'm so excited to be here. Thanks.
Okay, let's hop into things. Busy 4 years.
Busy 4 years. I don't know where you got that information. I didn't finish the Long Trail.
Okay.
So
we're
I
not
didn't
like
part of it.
sticklers over here.
All right, cut the
It
episode.
burns inside of me every day when I remember that I didn't finish that one. But yeah, busy 4 years.
We'll just fire Rachel and it'll be fine. No, that's fine. We don't keep too strict score. But that is a busy 4 years and a lot of trails in one. What brought you to long distance hiking?
Yeah. So my dad did a through hike of the AT over 2 different years in like 2018. Sorry, Dad, if I'm getting this wrong. 2018, 2019. And for him, it was always a lifelong dream of his, read A Walk in the Woods type of guy that you will find out there. And it wasn't really my thing. I never joined for part of his through hike or anything. My sister went out and joined him for about a month. And for me, I was just like, I'm good. It's not my thing, whatever. Was raised in a very outdoorsy family. We did a lot of hiking and day hiking and camping and that, but not backpacking. And then it wasn't until 2022 when I knew that I was going to start seminary in the fall. I was going to go to school to become a pastor and was living with my parents at the time and kind of just found that I had about 6 months of my life to fill before I was going to seminary. I had just finished a job, all those types of things, where people find themselves in a position to do a through hike. And I knew that I wanted to have some sort of adventure before starting seminary because it's a pretty intense 4-year grad program. And I was like, I want to get something out of my system. I thought maybe I've lived abroad before. I thought maybe I wanted to go back and do some more volunteering abroad, something like that. And my parents were just like, we really think that you should make some money before grad school. I was like, okay, like they want me to find a job. What am I going to do? And then knowing how much my parents love the AT, I was raised in the Chicago area, but they have since moved to North Carolina, like just off the trail because my dad loves it so much. He wanted to move there to become a shuttle driver. And knowing how much they love the AT, I was like, what if I do a through hike? And they were like, you got us there. So that was how I started it. And yeah, it kind of was... I didn't think that I was going to make it the whole way. I thought maybe I would make it to Sam's Gap, which is where they live closest to the trail. It's maybe mile like 320 on the AT. And I was like, that'll just be my goal. Didn't think I was going to like it that much. And then I went out there and pretty quickly within a week, I was like, whoa, this is amazing. This is my thing. And yeah, made it the whole way. And the day that I touched that Katahdin sign, my life changed forever. And yeah, in seminary, we have the summers off sometimes or, a grad school program, even though it's really intense, it's not like I have a full-time corporate job that's like difficult to take time off. So that was how I was able to do through hikes every summer for the past 3 or 4 years. And yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is there an overlap where you've noticed that going to the trail helps you on the seminary side of things?
Oh, for sure. I think maybe the biggest way that it helps me in my formation for becoming a pastor is learning how to talk to all different types of people, because the trail is one of those places that you will encounter anyone. You know, I think I've preached on this before, where it feels like one of the last places in America where you can be sitting next to a gun-owning middle-aged guy from Oklahoma and then a queer 19-year-old kid from Brooklyn on the other side of you, and you're just having dinner and it's normal, you know? And so in that way, it has really, really helped me throughout these years of seminary in just... If I hadn't been hiking, I don't think that I would have had those experiences of being forced to sit at a table with so many people from so many different walks of life, because that's just not how our country is set up right now. It's very segregated, and yeah.
Have any of your religious beliefs changed or altered at all through experiencing different people on the trail?
I don't know that my religious beliefs have changed, but the trail has definitely time and time again reinstilled my faith in humanity in a way that I'm really grateful for. That, you know, I feel like I could write an entire dissertation on the spirituality of trail angels and what that means for people to open their homes like that. So I think that it's not that it has changed anything, but probably just deepened my faith and reinforced the things that like I have already held to be like core convictions of my beliefs. Yeah.
I'd love to go back to right before you hit the trail. Obviously you're excited to go to school. You're probably nervous. And then now you're adding on this entire other layer of a huge adventure that you're undertaking. Yeah. Going in, had you expected some sort of spiritual angle to it? Were you looking for that, or you were truly looking for a completely different experience before you dived in?
No, I was going out there. I don't know what I was doing. I started the trail in the worst shape of my life, both physically and mentally, and it was kind of just I'm going to go out and see how this thing goes. And you know, like I said, didn't think that I was going to make it the whole way. It was really just to fill some time in my life. But it's interesting that you ask that, because then I went to seminary that fall. I summited on August 1st and then moved in for orientation not even 2 weeks later. And what was so interesting about that experience was that I, like I said, had applied to seminary before starting the AT and knew that that's what I was going to do. And then I go and do this really life-changing thing, and suddenly I feel like I'm a different version of myself. And that I wasn't the person that I was when I agreed to do this thing, when I agreed to go to school and become a pastor. And that was really hard for me to deal with. For the first like month or so that I was there, I was like crying myself to sleep every night, you know, on my Instagram, adjusting my close friends store to just be people from the trail. And I was like, anyone want to go Sobo right now, you know? And yeah, really, it's not that I didn't want to be there, but I was just like, yeah, I don't know. You know, I signed up for this program and said that I was going to come here thinking that I was one version of myself, and I'm someone totally different. And it took a while for me to marry those two versions of myself. Yeah.
How did you feel different? What did the old version look like versus the new version?
That's a great question. For one thing, I was just a lot more confident after the AT. You know, I'm sure as you both can relate to this, like the sense of I can put myself in any situation and know that I can get myself out of it. You know, I started the trail alone. Yes, of course, I met people along the way, but I was way ahead of the bubble, and so I was really alone for a lot of it. And just that the fact that you have to rely on yourself to get out of any situation that you put yourself through. You know, like I'm going into the woods and it's 70 miles until the next town, and I'm the person, and it's only me that's going to get myself there. So that was one part of it. And then the other part was that I lost probably, I don't know the official number, but somewhere between 70 and 90 pounds on the AT. Yeah, it was a lot. And you know, you're out in the woods and you're there's no mirrors there. And so I would see myself in a mirror. You know, I wasn't weighing myself a lot, but like would see myself in a mirror when I would go into town and stay at a hostel and be like, whoa, I look really different. But even so, that was only once every, 3 to 6 days. And so it wasn't until that I finally got off trail and had to buy an entire new wardrobe and finally was around mirrors a lot and all of these things that I was like, whoa, I look really, really different, and people are treating me really, really different.
Wow.
And what does that mean for my pastoral identity as I'm stepping into this call? If people are treating me differently, and I've probably now gained back most of the weight that I lost, because that's just not sustainable. You know, if you're hiking that many miles a day, you're going to inevitably gain some of it back. But there was definitely a fear in me of, people are treating me a lot differently now that I am, you know, quote unquote, whatever, skinny. People are treating me a lot differently now. My weight isn't something that I have a ton of control over, especially now that I'm in this grad program and I can't be hiking this many miles a day. What is it going to be like when I inevitably gain that weight back and people don't treat me this well? So that was a big part of it too. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna pivot to there, so I'm glad you took us there, because I think, you know, we'll go down the pastoral path, you know, as the interview goes along. Sure. But I think while we're on the AT, you know, talking about body image and how it relates to Thru-Hiking and you know, your story, like I'm someone who also, my weight fluctuates a lot. So like I've gone through like roly-poly bug mega chunky phases, and I've gone through like, you know, you should probably eat a piece of bread, you know, kind of phases. And it is super interesting to notice, like, I think they call it pretty privilege, you know, when you've been on both sides. And it's interesting, like, leaving a thru hike and knowing that, like, no matter what you do, kind of keeping that physique is a little impossible when you're not doing 20-mile days every day.
Right.
And it's just so fascinating watching the transition of people treating you differently in like the way of they're treating me better because I look better versus like I've had times where since trail, like my weight has fluctuated and it's gone up, and I'll be at a party and I'll just notice like the ways guys dismiss me when I'm talking to them. And it's like, if you talked to me when I got off the AT, you'd be hoping I spoke to you, you know? And now you're like brushing off like the feeble attempts at conversation I'm making to just be polite, you know? Like, what the fuck?
Right.
Yeah, that's definitely a mind fuck. How had that affected you? Like, how did that impact your like mental health and all of it?
Yeah. It, like I said, it was very tough. It's just funny that the anecdote that you just told reminds me of a story before. So I did the Colorado Trail last summer in 2025, and I was dating a guy before then. And it was when we were, you know, or like the months leading up to the trail, I was dating this guy. And we were talking about, I forget exactly how it happened. Oh, one day he noticed that my calves are really big for whatever reason. Like I just have, like, my calves are more toned than any other part of my body. Whatever.
Thanks for noticing, guy.
You're welcome.
And one day he points that out, and we're just like, mind you, this is a couple months into us dating. He's like, whoa, like, your calves are massive. Like, it's like, you're so ripped there. Like, I had no idea your calves were that big. And I was like, oh, yeah, like, you'll notice when I come back from the Colorado Trail, because it was a few months before I was about to leave. I was like, you'll notice when I come back from the Colorado Trail, like, my quads will then be really toned, too. And he goes, I shit you not. He goes, oh, yeah, I didn't think about that. You're going to be so much hotter when you get back from Colorado.
And boy, bye.
And I said, jail. Absolute jail.
Straight to jail.
I broke up with him a couple weeks later because I was just like, I can't get over that.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, talk about, like, just everything that we were just saying of how, especially for female thru hikers, like, I don't think that male thru hikers deal with this nearly as much as we do.
Yeah.
That just the way that people treat you differently, and yeah, and pretty privilege and all of those things. I was like, if a partner in my life is saying that to me, like, I have no time and no energy for that, you know?
Of course not. My brain short-circuited when I couldn't even believe it. That's insane.
Yeah.
Well, it is crazy because, like, when I was on the Colorado Trail, I was dating the human equivalent to a bag of shit, and it's crazy when you meet someone in trail physique, because I had met him when I was like post PCT, like lowest weight I've ever been, most toned I've ever been, and we were doing the Colorado Trail in sections. But then he'd say shit like, you know, that he wouldn't like me if I, gained weight and didn't look good. And in my mind, I'm like, this is the best I've ever looked. So you're seeing me at peak.
Right.
And so I would ask questions like, well, what happens if I were to get pregnant? And if I were to have trouble losing the weight after the baby? And he would talk about how that would be really hard for him and he wouldn't know how he would handle that. And I'd be like, I would have brought a fucking human child into the world for you.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't know how you would handle that.
Boo-hoo.
And so I'm going into the AT in the best shape of my life, like never looked better, never been fitter, crushing all the climbs. But I've also got like this crippling fear that like if I don't maintain this physique, I don't have any worth. And it's like, well, thanks, guy, for that.
Yeah.
But also like, I don't know, like for me, I'm like, I would much rather someone meet me and date me when I look like my worst, because then if I come back looking great, that's a perk for everyone, right? If that's something that we're not going to label but consider, you already liked me when I wasn't that. I don't want you to like me when I am that. And then I'm not that, and I have to feel self-conscious about, well, what if this wasn't what he thought he signed up for? What a fucking shitty thing to have to even think.
Right, for sure.
Crazy.
Completely.
I think that's like super common in the world of thru-hiking.
It is.
Yeah, it's glorified, honestly. Like the amount of folks that you talk to about like the body transformations, like how I used to look like now and then, and it could be interesting, but when it becomes the conversation point, it's like a totally different thing, you know? Like getting off trail for me, it was like, oh, you look so good, like you look, and it was like, thank you, and it made me graspy towards it. I feel like the second I got back, I was already planning my next hike. You know, I'm watching what I'm eating. It was not healthy for me.
Yeah.
What other standout moments did you have on the AT?
Standout moments. So many. This was one that I wrote in ahead of time, but so I can go ahead and say it. I got trail magic from Warren Doyle in the 100-mile wilderness. And that was super weird because I didn't know who he was. And so it's at Joe Mary Road, like the one road that you can drive into on the 100-mile wilderness. And it's a good thing that he was there because I did not pack enough food. Like, I was snacking on wild blueberries just to make it through, And I was hiking with two of my friends at that point, Hans and Checklist, and I was ahead of them. And so I get to this road, and he's there with another woman. I think they were out there supporting someone who was maybe doing some FKT attempt, maybe of the 100-mile. I don't know exactly why he was out there. He was doing some sort of crew support. And I get to the van, and I see that he's doing trail magic, and I'm like, great. And then he's like, he shakes his hand, and he reaches out his hand to shake it in mine, and he goes, I'm Warren Doyle. And I was like, great. I'm Lyndsay Monsen. Like, okay. At that point, I was Chef Decker. I was like, I don't really know what's going on here. Chef was my trail name. And so we just talk for a little bit, and he goes on and shares about how he's done the AT, I don't know, is it 17 times, 19 times? Something like that. He's talking about his AT career and experience, and I'm like, wow, this guy's really, really fascinating, And then it's not until Hans and Checklist catch up maybe 20 minutes later that he does the same thing, and he's like, hi, I'm Warren Doyle. And they take a minute to digest it because I think they look at me and I'm like, yeah, I don't know. It's a guy doing trail magic. And it's 5 minutes later. They're like sitting there eating his snacks. And then they're like, did you say that you're Warren Doyle? And he's like, yeah. And they were like, can we get a picture with you? Like, they totally knew who he was and everything. And I told my family later because, like I said, my sister and my dad are really into the AT too. So is my mom. Everyone is. And they were all like, Lyndsay, how did you not know who Warren Doyle is? So that was a time that, I will not live down.
If it makes you feel any better, when I was hiking, I saw him in Damascus. We were at whatever that bar is, and he was sitting at a table doing a crossword puzzle, and I'm just at the bar drinking. And one of the guys I was with was like, "Oh my God, that's Warren Doyle." I'm like, "Who?" I don't like at that point. I'm like, George R.R. Martin. Like, who is he?
Exactly.
And they were like, "He's done it like 20 times." Like, that guy. And we've since interviewed him. I've contra danced with him. He's a great guy, but it is funny when you're like, I don't know that I'm supposed to be impressed, and now I feel silly.
Right, because you don't think of, like, celebrities when you're out on the trail, I'm like, who is this person that I'm supposed to know in the middle of nowhere, Maine? Like, so.
In 24, Candy Mama passed me, but she was doing her FKT attempt. I didn't even know who she was.
Really?
Till later, I was like, oh, I saw her.
Well, there was, fucking halfway anywhere, he passed me on the JMT, and we've interviewed him, and I didn't recognize him because I was huffing and puffing, and like later on had heard that like I just totally blew him off, and I was like, sorry, I didn't look up.
But
fun.
because I think the trail just makes everyone human, so you're not, when you're all just shitting in the woods together, like, you don't think that anyone is better or like more famous than the other person. It's like we're all just humans out here, and then you realize that they've done some really cool things.
Your
it's like,
cat hole
sorry.
looks the same as my cat hole.
Right.
So romantic.
I know. Okay, so you get off the AT and you go and you start seminary school.
Yes.
What is that like?
Yes.
Because I don't know anything about pastor school and what they teach you or how that goes, and it is a fun little mystery in my mind. So demystify it for me.
All right, I'll do my best. Do either of you, like, were you raised in the church or?
I'm a raised Presbyterian.
Raised Presbyterian? Okay.
I was not.
You were not? Okay, great. Just curious. And obviously people are going to listen to this and be from any faith or any walk of life. But, okay, so it's different in every denomination. So it's different for the Presbyterians, different for the Episcopals, the Methodists, anyone. So I can only speak to the Lutheran experience. And my church is the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America. It is the largest Lutheran body in the U.S., and also the most progressive. Other Lutheran bodies wouldn't ordain me as a woman. They wouldn't ordain queer people, all these things. The ELCA is very progressive. ELCA stands for Evangelical Lutheran Church in America. And I know that evangelical has a very specific connotation in the U.S. People think of mega churches and more conservative culture and maybe tied to Christian nationalism a little bit. The ELCA is not like that, and I'm totally getting off track.
No, this is great. This is good.
When I say I don't know a thing.
Like, and now I'm giving you like a history of the church.
No, this is perfect.
Okay, great. I'll get to it in a second, I promise. But just, wanted to throw that out there that I know people feel certain ways about the word evangelical. I do too. And there, have been marketing conversations in the ELCA of should we get rid of this word? Does it make sense? But there are a lot of other Lutheran churches in the world, Lutheran church bodies, that also call themselves Evangelical Lutheran Church and whatever. So after college, before the AT or seminary, I volunteered in Palestine, and their church is called the Evangelical Lutheran Church in Jordan and the Holy Land. And so it's just a way to say, like, we are one global church, we are, like, all together, and so they're not going to, at least as far as I know, going to drop that evangelical label. But all that being said, so I am in the process of ordination in the ELCA. You have to so let's say that you're just a person who says, hey, I feel called to become a pastor. What does that look like? In the ELCA, you have to do typically 1 year of discernment within your community, within a church, to think about, what does that look like? What would it mean for me to be a pastor? For me, that was pretty quick and easy because I just did that process through my home congregation that has known me since I was 3 years old. And so they signed off on it and said, yes, we know Lyndsay, she's not going into this for the wrong reasons. And then from there, you do 3 different interviews over the course of these 4 or 5 years. Your first one is called your entrance interview. And that is with a committee of people called your candidacy committee, who are just pastors in your area. So for me, I do it through the Chicago area of, it's called a synod, the Metro Chicago Synod. And so I have this candidacy committee that I am beholden to, I guess you could say. And they did my first interview, my entrance interview, where you just kind of explain, hey, here's my story, here's why I think I want to go to seminary. It's usually pretty simple and basic. I actually did that maybe 150 miles into the AT. I went off trail for it, went back. And so you get entranced, you go to seminary. And then seminary is, again, I can only speak to my experience, 3 years of classes and then a 1 year of an internship. The best way that I can explain that is kind of like student teaching. It's a full-time thing. So right now I'm on my internship year. That's what makes me technically a vicar, or a baby pastor is the way that I like to put it.
Cool word.
Yeah, I know. I'm kind of like, I want to be a vicar for
Sounds
as long
a little
as possible.
dirty.
That's funny.
I don't know why. Something about the sound of it.
Yeah, Vicar Lyndsay. That's what my church calls me. So I have done 3 years of classes up until this point, and I think your question was like, what do they teach you? And it's anything from the Bible to theology, like what does it mean, what, like talking about God and all those things, spiritual formation. So for my like capstone spiritual formation class, I did an independent study on the spirituality of backpacking, and I tied it into my through hike.
Cool.
Yeah, I tied it into my through hike of the Superior Hiking Trail. So we can get into that. And spiritual formation, pastoral care. So one summer I had to do a summer of chaplaincy in a hospital. And those are the people that like get called into hospital rooms often on the worst day of people's lives just to pray with them, or if they have questions of, you know, what does it mean that my baby died suddenly type of thing. I did that in Burlington, Vermont, because Vermont is the least churched state in the country, so like the least amount of people go to church. Yeah, in Vermont. I know. Yeah, fun fact.
You wouldn't think that with
What would
like
you think?
early New England. I just read a book on like the
Right.
formative years in the 1600s
Right,
and like
right.
all the
Yeah,
religions coming over
Yeah,
from all
yeah,
the different
yeah,
stuff, and
yeah.
there's a lot of shit in New England, but then a lot of
Right.
people that left
right.
New England because
Yeah.
they were so strict
Right,
on like who
right.
could and couldn't be a member and
yeah.
what it meant.
Massachusetts for sure, but yeah, Vermont. There's only 5 Lutheran churches in the whole state.
Wow.
Yeah. So, so I did my summer, it's called Clinical Pastoral Education. I did my summer there because knowing how church is trending in the country, less and less people are going to church, and I thought that would be an interesting place to do pastoral care, to do this work, because that, what Vermont is right now is the direction that the rest of the country is headed towards, of less people going to church. And while I was there, talked to a lot of patients and their families who said things like, I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious, and the mountains are my church, and things like that. And so this is after my first year of seminary. I start kind of connecting the dots. Talk about, you know, what I was saying earlier, if it took me a minute to marry, like, the thru-hiker version of myself, which I really hold very near and dear to my heart and is a big, important part of who I am, but also this part of me that feels called to be a pastor. And so it was that summer that I kind of, like, started to combine the two and say, actually, there's really something here. A lot of people say that they feel most connected to God when they're outdoors and go, you know, hiking to try to find that. And so yeah, so like I said, you study all sorts of things. And 3 years of classes later, the degree that I will get, I'll graduate in May, is called the Master of Divinity. So I get to
Very
joke,
cool.
that I have
Okay.
mastered the divine.
Whoa.
It's very fun.
what do they call you then?
Once I get, at that point, I can just add like an MDiv to the end of my name, you know. But once I get ordained, I will be like the Reverend Lyndsay Monsen.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah, it's badass.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm guessing that's probably what brought you to the long trail.
Yeah, exactly. I was, had done that summer in the hospital in Burlington, and it was right after I did the AT, and I was like, oh, I just miss it so bad. I knew that I had some things that I needed to work through, having spent the summer in the hospital. You know, I was in the pediatric ICU and saw a lot of shit that summer. Yeah, it was tough. So I was like, I need a couple months just to decompress, but shit went sideways on that trail. Yeah.
Do tell.
Have either of you done the LT?
I have, yeah.
I mean, if you count the part that's connected to the AT,
Sure,
but
right.
no.
How was your experience on it?
Honestly brutal, but
Right.
I did finish, but just intense. My knees were still recovering from the AT, so just like
Okay.
a little uncomfy for
Okay.
me.
Yeah. It's not for the faint of heart. I made the mistake of going no-bow, so I just for the first 100 miles redid the section that I had done the summer before on the AT, which was a really, really fun part of my AT through hike. And so I was just kind of reliving those memories and found, was in a bubble of really great AT through hikers, and I was like, this is a blast. And then it splits off, and I did maybe another 50 miles, but I was like, this sucks. The terrain is awful. It was 2023, which was when it flooded everywhere in Vermont. So 22, when I did the AT, Vermont was dry as a bone. I did not have the typical Vermont experience. There was not a lot going on, but in 2023, it was the complete opposite. And it was just raining every day. I have a picture if you want to see. My shoes
Love to.
just got my feet got absolutely destroyed.
We love feet pics
I was
here.
gonna say, I love that we're an hour into knowing each other, and I can share a feet pic with
Oh, we
you.
were just
Yeah.
counting down the minutes.
Okay.
While
We
we're
should
talking.
make that a secret thing that we keep tally of is how who holds the record for the soonest the earliest
I
foot pick
love
in an
that.
episode. We'd have to go back and see what the current earliest foot pick is. This one only took us 28 minutes.
I mean, that's
So we
That's a
could
good
start the
stat.
record there.
yeah.
All right. Here's a.
Oh,
foot
those
pic.
are
So
those
those
are
are pretty bad.
Oh no.
Is that a that's
Some of
not
it-
a sticker.
No, that's second skin.
That's
yeah.
Oh, it is
Okay.
second skin.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
I was scared. I
But-
was scared when I saw
But
that.
I was just having the worst time ever.
Oh, I get those too on that right there. Those spots suck.
Yeah.
These are some nasty feet. You keep
Yeah.
talking. I'm going to show the camera for
Okay,
YouTube.
okay.
Follow us on YouTube.
And so yeah, I made it I think 150 miles, and then I was like, there's perfect.
And it gets ridiculously brutal after that main junction too.
Yeah.
So for your
yeah.
feet to be hurting in that section,
My feet were hurting, and I had to get back to school anyway. I really only had like 2.5 weeks or so to do it between like the time that I was in the hospital and then like my semester starting. So it wasn't like I could take a few days off and let my feet heal and go back. It was kind of do or die. And I said, I'm out of here.
Is this kind of like Sound of Music where Maria runs down from the hills and all the sisters are like, Maria, what the fuck are you doing? You know, have you watched Sound of Music?
It's been a couple years.
Ah, well, they have the, you know, what do you do with Maria song? And
Yeah,
she's like
yeah.
up in the hills singing
Right,
and she
right,
comes
right.
back.
Wait, but what's the connection? Are
That
her
like
feet
you're
hurting
going
then?
from the long trail back to seminary school and everyone's
Oh.
there like, you did what? Like, are
No,
you that
yeah.
kind of personality there?
For sure. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. I think maybe like I said, orientation. I was 2 weeks off of the trail, and so at that point, it's your whole personality. And I remember meeting faculty for the first time, and I was like, I just slept in the woods for 6 months, and they were like, cool. I was like, none of you get it, but whatever.
So it sounds like your ET experience, I imagine you probably had some really hard days, but it sounds like compared to the long trail, like
yeah.
night and day, right? Did you find that maybe like you felt more challenged even spiritually while you were on the LT?
That's a good question. I think a lot of my spirituality comes back to community. And so having a sense of that on the AT, and it wasn't until the Colorado Trail this past summer that I felt like I really had the true Tramily experience of we're planning out our days together, we're figuring out our lunch break, and your town stop is my town stop type of thing. I would ebb and flow in between that on the AT sometimes, but sometimes I would just kind of do my own thing. But still, all that being said, I think there were always people that I knew around me, and that was a big part of why that hike was so meaningful for me. And then, yeah, to have the same experience on the LT for the first 105 miles, whatever it is, and then for it to just suddenly drop off, I think was what was really jarring. And so, yeah, to lose that community, I was like, I'm not continuing this.
It is a rough section, like a rough trail to be alone on, too, because you just want to bitch so bad,
Yeah.
and you're just bitching out loud.
Right.
I was
right,
pissed.
Right.
I was, like, flipping off Camel's Hump. I was like, you did this to me. And it was like, I did this to me.
Yeah. And I think I was kind of like, listen, I did the AT last summer. I don't need to prove anything to anyone or to myself. Like, I'm fine with this just being a lash. So,
Yeah. Very cool. So now what you're saying is somewhere between the long trail and the Superior Hiking Trail, you start to make this connection between spirituality and backpacking.
Yeah.
Walk us through this brain blast you're having.
Yeah. So a lot of it had to do with that summer, right before the LT of, meeting people in the hospital, and knowing that the outdoors were so important to them and so holy. And then part of it also was, my school does something called J-term, January term, where the month of January you just take one class. And my second year of seminary, I went to somewhere called Holden Village, which is in Washington. I don't know if neither of you have heard of it. Okay, sometimes the PCT gets rerouted through there if there's like fire closures. It's happened a couple years, but so it's this remote community in Washington. I think maybe it's 12 miles off of the PCT normally. And it's the most remote community in the lower 48. And it's really special. It's this Lutheran retreat center. And we went there for a class it was called Liturgy and the Cycles of Creation. And we just kind of learned about, so liturgy meaning worship, for lack of a better word, or to make the connection. So we kind of learned about how worship life changes with the seasons and what it means to pray alongside a day, if you're like praying when the sun rises and then when the sun sets and then before you go to bed, all of these things, we did that together every day and just talked about, my professor's definitely going to listen to this episode, so I want to make sure that I'm doing well by you, Dr. Stewart. And yeah, what it means to be Christians in the Northern Hemisphere compared to the Southern Hemisphere, where for us in the Northern Hemisphere, we have Christmas around the winter solstice. The Christian faith is very much so connected to the winter solstice and the spring equinox. The spring equinox, of course, being around Easter. And so what does that mean to be in the Northern Hemisphere, where Christmas is centered, there's good historical knowledge to believe that Jesus was actually born sometime in the spring. And we just celebrate Christmas because we thought at one point that the winter solstice was on December 25th, and there's just a propensity to gather inside and to be cozy, and to be all together, and so that's why Christmas now is there. But what would it mean to be on the Southern Hemisphere instead, and to be celebrating Christmas when, like you hear of in Australia, Santa Claus comes in on water skis, he doesn't come through the chimney, or to celebrate Easter when instead of things blooming, which is what we think of up here in the Northern Hemisphere, things are falling and the leaves are turning, And so just kind of connecting faith with the outdoors in that way, in a very practical way that is going to make a difference for my ministry moving forward, I think was another key connection that I needed to make. And it was with that professor, Ben Stewart, that I then did the independent study on the spirituality of backpacking that next summer on the Thru-Hiking trail. So again, kind of a lot of threads as I have been, Thru-Hiking wasn't something that has always been a big part of my life. I really started it at the same time that I started seminary. So it's kind of been both journeys at the same time for me.
What did they think when you go back and you're like, I've had these ideas?
Yeah.
Like, what are they thinking when you're presenting them?
My school's really great and really chill, that when I said I want to do an independent study on the spirituality of backpacking, no one really batted an eye, and it was like, okay, yeah, sounds great, just put together a syllabus, and I came up with a few books that I was going to read in the project and everything like that. So I wouldn't say that it's been my seminary professors or classmates or anything like that that this whole thing has been crazy to them. I think it's been other people. It's been, not to make this entire podcast about my dating life, but like...
That's why we brought you. You didn't know that was why we brought you here?
It was feet pics in your dating life.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I mean, sometimes they go together. No, I'm kidding.
What was his name? Dr. Spencer? What was it?
Yeah.
Dr.
He's going to love this
Dr.
one. Sorry, Doc.
No, I'm more worried about my parents or a bishop watching this.
My dad listens. You get over it.
Perfect. But no, it's like when I'm on Hinge dates, that it's like, wait, so you're becoming a pastor, but also you like have solo backpacked 3,000 miles in the last couple years. Like, what do you even make of that, And I'm like, I know that I'm not just like, yes, I'm just a girl, but also I'm not like, not like a lot.
I'm so much more.
Not to be like I'm not like other girls, but like I'm not the average,
Yeah.
the average 28-year-old girl living her life somewhere. And so I think or just when I meet people at parties or friends of friends, it's just like, who is this girl? I've lived in Palestine. I have done all of these things, and it's kind of like, what's going on there? Like
what's the story? What's
exactly,
the thread?
Exactly. So it takes me a minute for people to really understand who I am, I think.
Is the shock factor bigger from the pastor side of things when the Hinge dates realize that, or is the shock factor bigger from the hike? Like, what are they more shocked by?
I'll have to ask them. No.
We need feedback.
Yeah. Pull up the app.
I think it's probably becoming a pastor. Yeah, because I think that the Appalachian Trail and the Pacific Crest Trail are things that are becoming increasingly popular for sure in media, and that people have heard of, or maybe it's, my friend's brother from high school did one of those a few years ago. Like, people have heard of that. Not many people hear of, at least definitely women, definitely young people becoming pastors. And so I think that's the more jarring thing for sure.
Yeah. We're on episode 350, which P.S. congrats to us.
Wow,
but you're our first pastor, to my knowledge,
take
unless
it.
someone didn't tell me. It's possible. So congrats. We've crossed that off after 350.
Perfect.
Very cool. You got any questions about that, Jess? Should we
I'm
keep
excited
trucking?
to hear about the CT.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I want to hop into the CT. I also, when we go into it, I want to know a little bit more about the preaching during your hikes. I saw some notes saying that you will sometimes preach along your hikes or reference your hikes in your preaching, something
sure.
like that.
Sure, yeah.
I'm wondering, like, how that, before we move on to a new trail, just how that comes across. Have you ever preached along one of these hikes to people, or is it mainly that you're bringing back the hiking into your preaching, and how do you bring that in? Like, what does that look and sound like?
Yeah. No, I have not preached formally on any of these hikes.
I picture you in a shelter with a Bible. Like.
That's so not me. That's so not me. No. And there's plenty of that, especially on the AT in the South, like, of just the, like the shoving Jesus down your throat type of thing. And that's not my style. If people want to talk about it, great, but I'm not like I was saying earlier, we're all just people out there that are trying to find a cat hole or the next water stream. Like, I'm no different than you are, and I'm not going to try to force something on you right now. So it's definitely not something that I lead with, and I'll let people find out about it later. That being said, even though I haven't formally crafted a sermon or anything on one of these hikes, it certainly comes up. Excuse me. And I mean, even the sermon that I'm preaching this coming Sunday, I talk about the Colorado Trail last summer, and just the experience of telling other hikers that. Sorry, I'm hearing
If you can hear,
feedback here.
ignore it. It's phantom ghost voices.
Is it?
Sometimes we pick up like radio signals, and it only comes
that's
through
so
really
funny.
faintly.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Are you playing a video or something? Okay.
No,
Okay.
it's just
Yeah.
ghosts.
Okay. But yeah, on the Colorado Trail last summer, having already established relationships with people and, within my family and whatnot, and then weeks, hundreds of miles later, sharing a little bit more about what that's like, and specifically, I hope it's okay. Yeah. I'll leave his name out. Okay. So specifically, one of my friends who, again, I had done hundreds of miles with on the trail, but who was gay, and we went to, I'm getting way ahead of myself now, but went to a Presbyterian church that's called I think it's like the Hiker Trailers Center or something like that. Have either of you heard of it? They do these incredible Sunday night potlucks there. And it was at that church that, again, this is around mile 400. It's in Lake City. So we're well into the trail at this point. And I'm talking with my friend who I've done a lot of miles with at this point. And he's kind of just at that point a little bit more curious to hear about what I'm doing. I think having seen the church community that night, because this is a church that, and again, this is something that I wanted to talk about anyway, so this is great. It's a Presbyterian church that just puts together these potlucks for hikers every Sunday night, and it is, I've been to a lot of church potlucks, there's nothing like this one. It is
Go Presbyterian.
It is an embarrassment of hiker riches. They had like this fondue machine, and there was just tables and tables and tables of food. I know that other churches do potlucks like that along the AT. I've never seen anything like this, and the whole community comes out on Sunday nights.
I mean, I definitely would be saying my Jesus has fondue.
Yeah.
I don't know about your Jesus.
Yeah.
My Jesus loves fondue.
Yeah, Jesus loves fondue. I'm sure of it.
My little cheesy Jesus loves his fondue.
Call him Jesus.
Jesus.
But like grilled cheeses. Do you remember that episode of Glee?
No, I didn't watch.
You didn't watch Glee?
No, I didn't.
All right. Well, there's an
wrong
episode
audience.
where someone like makes a grilled cheese, and then there's like a Jesus-looking guy on it, and they called it grilled cheeses. I don't know. Anyway,
Someone who's
someone
listening will get
know
it.
what I'm
Yeah.
talking
And they're
about with grilled
very
cheeses.
stoked you made that reference.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, fondue machine, all these great things. But it's in my view, a really great example of what church can be like, especially along the trail of, again, not out there to convert people, but just to share, here's our community, can you come in, let's offer you hospitality, and let's all just have a meal together. I think that there's something really, really beautiful and sacred about that, and the best example of what churches can do for hikers. And I think my tramily, and it's not just my tramily, but all of the people that we have been hiking with, because there was a really, really good bubble of us on the Colorado Trail last summer, everyone's seeing, okay, like church, maybe there's something here. Maybe there's something to offer here. Maybe it's not what I have thought it to be. So I was sharing a little bit more about what that's like. The pastor at this trail center was like, do you want my job? Like, I'm probably leaving here soon. And so there was just a lot going on that night. But anyway, the point of the story being that my friend who's gay was talking about this experience with me, about the church, and just wanted to hear a little bit more about my path and what it's like for me and becoming ordained and all these things. And he just kind of said, he was like, wait, so if I came to your church one day, I wouldn't be turned away? And I was like, no, you wouldn't. In fact, I want you there. I need you there. And the reason why I share that story is because even though, like I said, I haven't formally preached at all on the trail, there's a saint in the Christian church. His name is Saint Francis of Assisi, and he once said that preach the gospel at all times and when necessary, use words. So I think just my presence, again, as a 20-something-year-old with tattoos and a nose piercing who believes all these really radical things and really progressive things, is becoming a pastor and is fully welcoming and fully affirming of anyone who wants to come to church. I think that there's really, really something there. And so even though I never, like I said, never crafted a sermon, I think that people just meeting me probably made a difference.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's how our church was. Like, when I was growing up, we were a quote-unquote light congregation in the Presbyterian church. It stood for lesbian, intersexual, gay. I don't remember what H was. T was trans. There was basically LGBTQ, whatever, accepting.
Yeah.
So that's like that's all I've ever known was that lesbian couple just brought their kid to church and I'm 5.
Right.
What do you mean? What do you mean people don't let them places?
Right. Exactly. And it's
Yeah.
really easy for me to fall into that trap too, especially because my seminary is super gay. I am the token straight one there. And so that's just my world, is progressive queer Christianity. And it's so easy for me to like get into pigeonholed into that, and forget that there's a lot of other experiences and a lot of queer religious trauma out there, that people don't even know that there's a possibility of another world and have only heard one narrative their whole lives, and that is that, I don't feel the need to repeat it here, but really, really harmful things. And yeah, anyway.
And that ain't you.
And that's not me, and that's not a lot of churches. Yeah. There's a lot of really welcoming and affirming churches out there.
Yeah.
So would you find that your conversations on trail, if somebody did like start to steer it towards the spiritual, like did you find that happen like pretty organically?
Did I find that it happened?
Yeah, like folks, like you were never the one. Yeah. It was always like, hey, can I talk to you about this?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it depended on the context. If it was the first time that I was telling someone that I was becoming a pastor, there was always a lot of, oh, well, then I won't swear in front of you, or I won't talk about sex in front of you, or like all these things. And that's same in my off-trail experience too, that people suddenly feel the need to be perfect. And my response to that often is, I don't fucking care if you swear. and then that helps people loosen up a little bit.
You should lean into it and like cross them and be like, you are forgiven.
She's going around at 10s in the morning, knocking and asking if they have a moment to talk about Jesus Christ.
It would work on me. I'd be like, get in here.
I'm going to talk about our Lord and Savior. Next through, like,
Jesus Christ.
If I find the right people, I'll do it.
April Fool's Day.
But so that was often the first time, or that would be like the conversation if it was the first time that it came up. But then what I found to be interesting, especially on the AT, and I was surrounded by dudes on the AT, like I really I don't think it was until Vermont that I found another solo female thru hiker my age. Again, I was pretty ahead of the bubble, but I remember, I think it was the night that we were at Woods Hole in Virginia, and I was there with maybe like a dozen other guys who were my friends at this point. But that night specifically, I remember 4 or 5 of them wanting to grab me, and I don't know if it was the pastor thing. I don't know if it was just being the only woman in the group or
Hottest
what it was.
one on trail.
I had only lost like 30 pounds by that point, Chaunce. I'm joking. You're beautiful anyway. But yeah, I don't know what it was, but I remember that night, like all of them kind of wanting to grab me at one point and say like, my friend's mom is dying of breast cancer right now, you know, like, can we talk about it? Or like some other things that were going on, or just like, I am, you know, my ex-wife is like fighting me over the custody of our daughter, and like all of these really heavy things that these guys were going through. And I was like, whoa. And maybe this is also a commentary on gender too, that I'm like, you guys aren't talking about this with each other, and so you need to come to me and talk about it. And I'm fine with that, because that's what I'm getting trained to do, and I love having those conversations with people. I also think, and now we're like opening a whole can of worms here, but I also think that maybe then you're placing an unfair burden on women to do that emotional labor for you and all those things. Like, talk to each other, it's going to be fine, you know. But yeah, maybe that kind of answers your question of,
no, absolutely.
I did find several times that people wanted to talk to me about stuff, and it just depended on the context and the person and the relationship. Yeah.
So I bring that up because, weirdly enough, my first exposure to like very passionate Christians was on the AT, because I grew up in a very Jewish community.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay.
Yeah.
I grew up in a super Jewish community too.
Oh, okay, really?
Yeah.
I was like, let's talk
Baruch
after.
atah Adonai. Did you go to over 50 bar and bat mitzvahs?
Baruch
in
atah
seminary?
Adonai.
Girl, I did.
Guys, also
I see.
downstate New York, also heavily Jewish.
Yes,
Yeah.
Love my delis.
It was interesting because, like, my only experience at that point was, like, and, you know, kids, when I was in high school or whatever, like, if somebody was very passionately Christian, like, I wasn't hanging out with them, you know, not just, you know, cliques. Yeah. So, anywho, I get to the trail, and, like, my first encounters with folks who were, like, very passionate about their Christianity were, like, chaplains, you know, on trail. Yeah. And I think my first, like, knee-jerk reaction, just based on me, you know, like, a lifetime of, like, the things I was told, was kind of this, like, oh, like, maybe it's going to be preachy, you know what I mean? Yeah. And purely just lack of exposure on my part. And, like, the folks that I talked to were always, like, incredibly kind, never the first person to bring it up, and would say, like, I'll talk about it with whoever wants to talk about it with me, but I'm never going to be the first person. And that really opened my eyes. Yeah. So I think that's pretty much the case with anybody about anything. Like, you're not going to, like, stand on a pulpit, like, I'm not going to sit here and try to convince somebody who's never thru-hiked to go thru-hiking. Same way that, like, you won't stand and try to convince somebody to believe in Jesus if they don't want to talk to you about it.
Right. Yeah. That's good spiritual care. Those were good chaplains, if that's the way that they were doing.
Oh yeah, lovely people. Yeah, still talking to them.
Yeah.
We kind of grazed over the Superior Hiking Trail a little bit because we talked mainly about the spirituality of backpacking rather than the trail itself. So I want to cover that before we get into the Colorado Trail. But before we go even to the Superior Hiking Trail, one last AT question from me, which I think is the most important of them all. Yes. What was your confession at the priest shelter?
I didn't go.
What do you mean?
I know.
It was for you.
Listen. That was the... Earlier you asked me about standout moments on the AT, and like, yes, getting trail magic from Warren Doyle is up there, but that was another day that is definitely up there. Okay. For a brief
you had one job.
Side story. I know. Listen, when I tell you, I'll go back one day. I'll thru-hike the entire AT again just to go and do it. Okay, so it was just a crazy ice storm. It was the day after Easter, actually, and probably anyone who was on trail on the AT in 2022, because it impacted like the whole trail, remembers where they were on this day. And anyway, to make a long story short, I woke up in a shelter that day. Yeah, there was a lot going on, a lot of characters around me at the time. But didn't exactly know what my plan was for the day, because this was like the 35 degrees sleet and hail and wind, like dangerous to be out there type of conditions. And I was like, damn it, I'm going to get some miles in. and tried to go maybe 4 or 5 miles, and then I was like, oh, like I can't do this. Something is going to happen. Something bad is going to happen. I was alone. Or there were people around me, but ditched me, whatever. Again, long story. And so then I tried calling a shuttle driver, and this is right around the priest. I think it was in the 4 or 5 miles that I did when I was trying to make it to the next road crossing that the priest shelter was there. And I was, again, it's, how far is it off trail? Half a mile or something? Yeah, it was so bad that I was like, there's no way that I'm doing that. So I tried calling the shuttle driver, and he says that he'll come and pick me up and take me to town, but then he couldn't get up the road because it was so icy. So I get to the road, and it's maybe like a 2-mile road walk into town or something like that. And I was like, fuck it, I have no choice, you know? I'm not going to keep going. It was really dangerous. And so I start walking down the road, and I'm just kind of like, maybe I'll get a hitch, maybe not. And I'm walking for maybe 30 minutes, and it's to the point where I'm like, do I set up my tent in the middle of this like Forest Service road and just try to get shelter? Because everything was soaking, you know, like my frog togs were toast, everything is wet. And I was like, do I try to dry off? I feel like all of my gear is wet. Like, that's not a good plan to just like hunker down in the woods. I think I need to keep walking. And then finally, this tiny pickup truck of a dad and son come down this Forest Service road, and I normally am pretty gentle about my hitching, right? Like, I'll just stick out my thumb. It's not hard for me as a woman alone to get a hitch and just smile at them. No, this one, I went in the middle of the road and just start waving my hands like this, flagging them down. And I'm like, you have no choice but to pick me up. You have to pick me up right now. And so I literally stop the car. I get right in the middle of their way. And so they stop. And it turns out that it was like a 15-year-old boy and his dad going out for a drive because the son had his learner's permit. And the dad was like, it's a good idea for you to learn how to drive in the ice. So anyway, they drove me to town. I think it was like, is Glasgow, Virginia a trail town?
Oh,
Okay,
that's so funny. I had to go to some extreme lengths to hitch there too.
Yeah, so
Stanimals? Question mark.
Yeah. Oh wait, it was around the Stanimals. Buena Vista. I think that was what it was. I don't know. I like holed up in a motel for a couple nights and got back on trail when it was safe. But one day I'll get to the priest.
Well, if you had to confess now, retroactively, what would your confession be?
Aren't they supposed to be anonymous? Isn't that the whole point?
Yeah.
Turn around, we'll close our eyes.
Yeah. No one's watching.
About my AT experience up until that point.
I mean, you can confess to anything you want at this point.
Aren't a lot of them just like about bad LMNT practices?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So,
which was disappointing to me because I was reading through and looking for something juicy.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, there's some like romantic ones that are kind of funny.
Yeah.
All right, we'll skip that.
I was gonna say one time someone caught me like pulling out a tampon.
Fuck yeah.
Because I didn't go that far enough off trail, and I felt bad about it too because it was a guy that I knew who was just like really awkward and.
You lock eyes while you had it like string in hand.
Wow.
It was bad. It was bad.
You talk about it after?
No, he was.
Should have gave him the tampon.
This is
parting gift.
Outback. He did the ECT that year. I don't know if you know him. Anyway, he's like done a lot of long distance trails. But and we had met at a hostel down in Franklin, Tennessee. And then I forgot to say this earlier when I was talking about the AT. I started because my parents live in the area, and I was living with them at the time. I pieced together maybe like 100 or 110 miles of the AT. So before, just like around them, like by Sam's Gap and everything, in between Hot Springs and Irwin. When I left Springer, I had already done 100 miles under my belt, and I knew that I was going to skip over those sections. So I meet this guy in Franklin, Tennessee, and we spend the night together at a hostel, and then we part ways because he's, at that point, crushing like 30, 35-mile days because he had been on the trail since Florida. And so I thought that I was never going to see him again, but I was like, well, maybe if I, depending on how things go, like with the miles that I'm going to skip soon. And so then, it's like the day that we're both heading into Damascus that he comes
back. Was that the first time he'd seen you since? And it was
pretty sure.
Mid-tampon bowl?
I'm pretty sure. He's like coming down the trail, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And then I like try making small talk with him, and I'm like, you gonna go into town? Like, are you gonna stop and have lunch? And he was like, no, like, I gotta keep going.
He's like, I'm not hungry anymore.
Yeah. So I was like, Okay, sorry. But maybe that's what I would have written in the priest.
That's
But you
a
know
really
what?
good one.
What a good 2 truths and a lie to be able to say I've seen a reverend pull out a tampon. That's a great one
Perfect,
to throw in there.
Trail
And then they'll say, no, it was a vicar.
That was my lie.
You're welcome, Outback.
What did you think of the Superior hiking trail? Because up until recently have thought that like this is like a great hike. I should put it on my list. Yada yada. And I've just recently talked to a bunch of people that think it sucks.
Yeah, I'm not going to help you out in that department. If you want to do it, do it. Okay, so here's the thing. I love the water. I am an open water swimmer. Like the water is my place for sure. Like if I had to choose between the water and the mountains, I would definitely choose the water. So it's really beautiful in that way. And a lot of the trail is going by rivers that are flowing into Lake Superior. And I don't know if you know anything about Lake Superior, but it's very special. It's a very, very cool. And I grew up less than a mile from Lake Michigan, so I'm very familiar with the Great Lakes and all of that, but Lake Superior is something else. It's really awesome. And so yeah, you're walking by water all the time, but it is so buggy. I mean, they joke that the Minnesota state bird is the mosquito, and it's just inevitable. I did it in August, which I thought that the mosquitoes would have been better by then because, they're the worst in, like, June and July. And it was still awful for me. Mosquitoes love me, so that was part of it. But the other big thing, again, the trail is really beautiful, but it's way different than a lot of other long-distance trails. Like, thru-hiking culture is not a thing there. No, I mean, people are out there, but they're usually just out there for a night or a weekend, and Minnesotans love this trail, so they'll go up there all the time. They love the North Shore. And there were people out there, but when I would tell them that I was doing the whole thing, they were like, what, really? Why? And again, it's only 310 miles. Like, it's not like it's the AT or the PCT or anything. But so no one else is out there through hiking it. No one's using trail names. There's not far out. All of these things. It's just kind of like, why would you even do that type of thing? So it was very lonely, really buggy. And yeah, I didn't love it. What was tough about like the trajectory of my through hiking is, again, I did the AT first, which was really transformative for me. Really hard a lot of days, but good for me in the end. Then I went to that long trail, which just was a shit show, and kind of made me question, okay, was the AT it? Was that one and done for me, I thought that I was going to do more through hikes, but maybe not. And then I go and do the Superior Hiking Trail after that, and I thought that I would have maybe, that I would have loved it or whatever, but I was only out there and only finished it by, like, being really stubborn about it, and I'm gonna finish this trail, damn it, because I can't quit another one. Like, the AT can't be it for me, and so I didn't really enjoy it. And I also had really, really awful experiences with men on that trail.
Oh, no.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh, tell us.
Yeah. So there was, like, a 12-hour period where I just had 3 different interactions with 3 different men that really made me want to quit, and it was only because I wasn't by a road that, like, I didn't eventually quit. The first one was, can I crack another one?
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
I'm almost ready for my next
Get
one.
in there, yeah.
But mine's taller, so I feel like we're still equal.
Like, before I tell this story,
Yeah.
I need another drink.
Sounds like an alcohol in hand one.
So it was, and again, I was really alone for most of this hike. I was hiking through this big meadow, and it's maybe like 6:30 at night, about to get to camp, and I come across this guy who is wearing nothing but a ripped up pair of shorts. He's barefoot. He's shirtless. Really hairy guy. He had a pack on him. And again, we're hiking in the same direction, but I'm coming up on him because he's moving real slow. I'm a slow hiker, and he was moving incredibly slow. And came up on him, and he had a pack on, but the closer that I get, I realize that there's nothing in the pack. And then as soon as I get toward him, I realize the only thing he's carrying is a machete on his left hip.
Uh-oh.
And he just turns around really slowly, and he's like, hey. And he has, like, a big beard. It looks like he's been living outside for a while, but again, nothing in his pack. He only has a machete. And he turns around, and he's like, hey. I'm going to let you go ahead. And I was just like, holy shit, what? Again, just like shivers up and down my spine. I'm like, what's going on? Just like the look in his eyes. And I just keep moving. And I'm like, okay, great, thanks, you know? There's no service in this area, so it's not like I can call my mom and let her know what's going on, or like someone, or 911 if I have to. I wasn't using a Garmin at this point, which is bad on me. I now use one. But so I was just like, this is really scary. And I'm just booking it. And I'm like, maybe I'll make it to my campsite. Maybe I'll night hike and get as far away from this guy.
Yeah, but you've got now the thought in your mind of this guy's, he's not following you, but because there's one trail in one direction, he's following you.
Yeah. So I know that I'm about to come up on a road soon, and I'm like, worst case scenario, maybe I get a ride into town. And then eventually, right before I hit the road, there's 2 trail runners who are big guys, you know, big, fit guys, that are going the opposite direction. And so I kind of pull them aside, and I'm like, hey, just so you know, there's a man up ahead. It looks like he has some needs that are unmet, you know, like, let's just, like, take some precaution with that. And they're like, how far away is he? And I'm like, I don't know, maybe half a mile. And they're like, okay, great. And so just knowing that they were in between me and him, like, made me feel a lot better of, like, these guys can handle whatever's going on with him. And so I hiked a few miles, set up camp that night, and didn't sleep at all. But I was just like, I don't know what to do right now. Like, what else do I do? I'm out here alone. Then I never see him again. I, you know, wake up the next morning and all is good. But then I start hiking the next morning, and I'm maybe 3 miles into my day, stopping at like a water source because I needed water. And there's this guy who's maybe 60 or 70, and he just, again, I'm maybe like 2 weeks into the Superior Hiking Trail at this point, so I'm really lonely and just like desperate for any company. And he sees me filtering water, and he's like, oh, can I sit here and join you? And I'm like, sure, sounds great, you know, like, didn't think anything of it. And we just get to talking, and he just wants to know everything about me and won't stop talking. And then eventually the conversation shifts to, are you married? Well, why not? Wait, are you going to have kids? Why not? Who's going to get you pregnant? And all these things. And I was just like, whoa, yeah. As soon as, and he just really started harping on like the concept of me not being pregnant yet. And I was like, whoa, okay. And so I kept trying to politely cut him off, and I was like, oh, thanks, like I actually need to keep going with my day. And we were sitting there for maybe 20 or 30 minutes, and he was like, no, wait, I gotta tell you this one more thing. And then that just kept going on, and eventually I was like, I gotta go. And I'm like standing up with my pack on me at this point, and I just walked away in the middle of him talking. Wow. Because I was like, I can't handle this anymore, you know.
Was he a hiker, or was he just like a dude?
Hiker. He was a day hiker. And then I am maybe 5 minutes away from walking away from him, and I'm like climbing up this hill, and who's coming down at me but a man who's totally naked.
Shut up.
No.
Butt ass naked, everything hanging out. Not even like, because I know on National Hiking Day, you know, guys will like with a bandana covering them or something. No, like truly saw everything. And he felt really bad, and immediately he like pulls out a pair of shorts and apologizes. And he like, as I like keep walking again, because we're going opposite directions, I'm like, I have to pass this guy, you know. And he tries talking to me, and he's like, how long are you out here for? Whatever. And I'm just like making small talk again. Nice guy.
Look at the eyes. Look at the eyes.
I think he was well intended. Like, some people just like to hike naked. It is what it is. But having been through like those were the only. It's not like I was seeing other people in between these men. Those were the 3 men back to back to back that I saw that day. That I was like, you have got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me.
But at that point, I would just like, this might as well happen.
Have you seen a fully naked man on trail, not on Hike Naked Day yet?
I don't know.
Have you?
Like one of the first days on the PCT. Just a nude man, being a nude man, enjoying nature.
Did he feel bad?
No, he was really happy to say hello. He was walking south and we were walking north. I tried everything I could to keep my eyes above the neck, but it's a part of you that just always wants to take a peek.
Was he cute?
No, this is like an old man. But it's so hard to not just look. Also, like, fuck, you didn't put on pants. I'm gonna look. It's like so funny though that it's like not just like you hear it and it's like, oh my god, that's such a crazy strange experience, and then it's like this seems to happen a lot. You never stumble upon a fully nude woman.
No
Not once.
I don't think even a shirtless woman.
No, I've not. Because I don't count Hike Naked Day. Because I think that's just like its own little holiday. Sure. But like on a random Tuesday, never seen a pair of tits on the trail.
Men.
Oh, so that's great.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, that's a terrible 24 hours.
If people want to do the Superior Hiking Trail, I would say do it in September when the bugs are definitely going to be better and the leaves are starting to change.
Bring some mace.
Bring some mace.
Mace indeed.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. So I'm glad we didn't skip over the Superior Hiking Trail then. And good for you for continuing and finishing when that's week 2 for you.
Yeah, that's a rage quit.
I mean, I think I did it in 19 days. So I was close to the end at that point anyway. And I was like, I just got to do it at this point.
What puts the Colorado Trail on your radar? Because at that point, it could be really easy to be like, fuck this shit. The AT was great. I'm going back to pastor school.
Right. I think that, the Colorado Trail had been on my radar since the AT, since whenever. And it's hard for me to remember why I wanted to do it. Maybe it was this sense of, okay, everyone says the Colorado Trail is great, and maybe I need to just do one more. And it was kind of like, this is my thing. I'm doing these every summer. Let's try to do one more. And I'm so glad that I did, because the Colorado Trail far and away was my favorite through hike. Yeah, it's really special. Yeah.
Take us there.
Okay.
When did you start?
The Colorado Trail. I started, I don't remember the exact date, mid-July. I started on a Friday, or a Saturday, which landed me in a bubble of, I think because the weekend is a popular time to start, so landed me in a bubble of a lot of other people who started that weekend. And it was just a blast. You both know, like, living in, or I guess, I don't know. Anyway, but the Colorado Trail area last summer, like, didn't get nearly as many monsoons and everything that typically Colorado Trail through hikers have to deal with. And so I just had great weather. There was maybe one day that it downpoured on me, but other than that, it was spectacular. And yeah, just met really awesome people. I think also, each of my through hikes has gradually gotten more and more west, and I was raised in the Chicago area. And so I think that there was also something about that for me. Like, I haven't done the PCT yet or anything like that. And so I was like, whoa, this shit is so cool. This is so beautiful. Like, I'm a flatlander and I just don't live around the mountains. And so I think that was part of it too, of just, it's hard to have a bad day when you're surrounded by mountains. And that was such a new experience for me. So yeah.
Yeah. I feel like the further you get into that trail, the more you have to just like pick your jaw up off the ground.
Yeah.
It's just like insane, some of the views.
Yeah, when you're down on the sand ones, absolutely. I didn't do Collegiate West, which I really regret, because I went into the trail planning on doing that. And then it was right before the split off, like in Twin Lakes or whatever, when one of the guys that I had been hiking around started fear-mongering about the weather, and the weather's going to be so bad in the West, and my mentor, who would never tell me not to do something, is telling me to go east, and so I really believe him. And I was just like, okay. And then suddenly everyone was going east because this one guy's mentor, who's off trail, mind you, said to go east. And I'm like, well, fuck, like, if I go west, it seems like I'm going to be the only one going there. And so I went east, and, it's fine, but, like, the two worst climbs on the Colorado Trail are in the Collegiate East. And the one good thing about going east is the hot springs, that resort. And I didn't even go. I went in to get, like, pizza and recharge my phone and resupply or whatever, but I didn't go swimming. And it wasn't until... Okay, so what happened was, another thing about my Colorado Trail through hike was that I had a great time and everything, but I was very not prepared gear-wise, and I brought, I think, a 40-degree quilt and thought, it's summer, baby, it's gonna be great, it's gonna be fine. No.
Joke's on you.
I was freezing my little booty off at night, and so I needed friends that lived in Colorado came and brought me a warmer sleeping bag one night, and it was in the Collegiate East right before this hot springs resort, like 13 miles before it or whatever, that my friends came out that night, but they weren't able to get there until well after hiker midnight, but probably only like 8 or 9 p.m., you know, but everyone else was asleep at this point. And they came, and it was so sweet. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to Leigh and Greg. Thank you for saving my life on that trail. And, you know, brought me a calzone and everything, and it was great. And so, but stayed up until 10:30 or so, like not even that late, but just like hanging out with my friends that came to visit me on trail. And so the next morning I slept in maybe an hour or two later than I normally would, or later than the rest of my family. And we had made the plan of just like, oh yeah, like maybe we'll do the hot springs, maybe not, like we'll see you and like we'll get pizza, whatever. And I got there and saw a couple people, but didn't know where everyone else was. And then I was just like, okay, whatever, like maybe they're already at camp. And so I kept hiking and got to camp that night. And then it wasn't until they all came to camp that they were like, where were you, Wreckage? Like, you know, we missed you, whatever. And then I found out that two of the people that were hiking around our family, it was like an older couple, we called them mom and dad, and they were really sweet. And they bought everyone passes to the hot springs because it's like $50, you know. So that was another thing. We were like, do we really want to spend $50 just to like swim for, you know, half an hour or whatever? And so I'm sitting at camp waiting for all of them, and they're like, we went swimming? And I'm like, gotta be kidding me. Fuck you guys. But yeah, so the Collegiate East was fine. It was nice that I was around people, but I definitely missed the views of the West. And the other thing about the Colorado Trail was that was the first time that I finally embraced like a non-purist mindset. I think starting with the AT first, I was like, you got to do every mile, you got to see every white blaze, you know, like as much as possible. I was never one of those people that would re-hike the part in front of the shelter just to say I did every inch of the Appalachian Trail, but like I wouldn't skip half a mile of a road walk just to skip it. And on the Colorado Trail, I was like, fuck that, like I'm gonna hitch this road walk if I can, you know. And it was really liberating because I was like, this is so fun, and I'm out here having this adventure with these friends, and I'm not tying myself down to having to hike every mile. And so that was the other thing that was really special about that hike.
Yeah, that mindset can sometimes be nutty. I was dying laughing at your comment on the Instagram this week when Zach was talking about aqua blazing the Shenandoah.
Oh, yeah.
And that dude commented being like, did you go back and re-hike that section? And you comment back, you're like, are you talking to me?
Yeah, I had no clue.
And he was like, I'm talking to anyone who skipped those miles, you know, to go back and re-hike them all if you really want to have an actual through it. It's like, Jesus Christ, what are you so fucking butthurt about at home?
Oh,
like,
100%.
well,
yeah.
how does what anyone else does affect your life at all that you need to come on here and leave this in a comment?
He was so pressed. And then you just know as soon as he hit send, he was like, my job is done.
Yeah, like I showed her. And you're like, I wasn't even the one talking about that.
I was so confused.
I was literally laughing at that so hard last
But also,
night.
I'm the most pro aqua blaze of anybody you'll meet. I didn't get the chance to do it on the AT, and I was like, I'll go back and hike it again, just aqua blaze. That shit sounds
like
fun.
The only person's life I'm living is mine.
Yeah, exactly.
So like I'm gonna do what is most conducive for my own life. Yeah. And if that's gonna upset you in your life, then maybe you should go to a therapist.
Yeah, then maybe you log off.
You might need therapy. Because that you shouldn't let what I do and my choices affect how you feel about your life and your choices. And so a lot of the purists, I think that is a very interesting thing is how much they let someone else's hike affect their mental sanity. That's not healthy.
No, it is not.
It's 2026. Why do we still have these keyboard warriors? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Touch grass.
Exactly, touch grass.
Literally go. Why don't you go hike something?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Why don't you go hike every mile of something?
No. They hiked it in 2006, and when they did it, it was the right way.
Yeah, so give me my trophy and my couch.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay. Well, Colorado Trail is incredible. I'm
What's
sorry you didn't
got
do the
pee?
West.
What was this pee story?
Oh, yeah. I got pee truly all over my tent.
I did. Yeah.
Your pee?
I know that you're about poop stories here. Yeah, I got my pee.
We got some. Well, we've had some since.
I don't have a good poop story.
We had a great pee story on the last episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was.
I heard about this pee story.
Yeah, we had. Do you know the girl that writes like erotic trail content?
Maybe.
We had her on, and she had told a story about someone peeing on her sleeping bag, but in like it was like a turn on. It's a great episode.
Like a golden
sexy
shower.
Yeah,
type
like
of
did not
thing?
wash her sleeping bag for the rest of the trail.
Was she into it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Shit,
All right.
Oh yeah.
Good
So
for
into
you,
it.
girl.
It was a great episode.
God.
Check it out.
Okay.
349, I believe.
That's awesome.
Okay,
So
no,
I'm
this was my
primed and ready
pee.
for another pee story.
And it was not sexual in any way. No. Okay, so this pales in comparison.
Okay.
But I got really salty. This is on the AT again, hiking around all guys, knowing that they didn't even really have to get up to go pee in the middle of the night. And I was like, fuck this. Like, I'll figure out a system that works for me.
This is one of my biggest vendettas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not fair. And so I did, or still have, it's time to upgrade my tent. This is like the one piece of gear that I want to upgrade. But the Big Agnes copper spur is what I use. And that has a footprint underneath. It has a vestibule, and it has a footprint underneath that can go like underneath the entire vestibule if you want, or yeah, that's the design, is for it to go underneath the entire vestibule. I started, around mile 200 or so, like learning that these guys could stay nice and warm and cozy and didn't really have to get up. I started peeing in my vestibule because I was like, I just am lazy about this, whatever. And so I would tuck my footprint underneath my tent, like the flap that's supposed to go, like, cover your vestibule. I would just tuck underneath it because I knew that I was going to pee there at some point in the middle of the night. One day in New Jersey, I guess I didn't do a good job of tucking it underneath, and it wasn't until I woke up in the middle of the night that I realized that when I went to pee in the middle of the night, I peed all over my pee got on the footprint, and then I woke up in a puddle of my pee, and it smelled, of course, so bad. And so I had to take an unexpected zero at
a piss zero is sad.
At Mosey's place, I think. It's a former Thru-Hiker that just kind of runs a de facto hostel out of her home. And
I stayed at Mosey's?
Yeah. Super sweet. But she was just like, what is going on, And I was airing out my tent in her driveway, and her dog was sniffing it everywhere. And I was like, what do you think I should do for this? And she's like, maybe here's some disinfectant. I don't know. And so
hands you a flamethrower.
Wiped it down everywhere. But
she's sell it on the internet,
right?
For money.
People would probably pay good money for it. But you would think that after that I learned my lesson and I stopped peeing in my vest.
I was actually hoping you didn't.
No, I still pee in there.
You can't let one bad thing get you down.
And yeah, for sure. And not only that, but my extended family always does an annual camp in your backyard type of thing every summer. And the year that I did it on the AT, they waited, normally it's in June or July, and they waited until I got off trail so that I could be there. And we're all camping in my cousin Kyle's backyard. And of course I'm camping in my tent and everything, and my parents are right next to me, and I'm maybe a week off trail at this point, so I'm still very primal. I'm weird, I'm eating food off the ground. I'm doing whatever I can to survive, type of thing. And they hear me in the middle of the night pee in my vestibule, but we're in the suburbs. I'm no longer on trail. It's 2 a.m. and they hear me. My dad's like, Sue, who is that? And I'm like, sorry, it's me.
It's a bear.
And they're like, Lyndsay, there's a toilet right inside. Go inside and use the toilet. But
said trail miles only.
It's not as good.
It's not as good.
It's not as good.
There's something about peeing outside.
I had a hard time after the PCT where I was still in my young 20s and going out a lot on weekends, and my housemates really had a hard time getting me to wait to pee until we got to the next bar or until we got home, because man, anytime there was a car I could stand behind, I'm peeing in the parking lot, and it was just can you just hold it? And I was such in the mindset of why I haven't had to hold. Why would you hold it? The feeling is here. I'm gonna go right now. And it's you could get a ticket for this.
Do you use a shiwi on trail?
No, I stick my butt out into the vestibule and I let things happen. I do try to keep an eye on the direction my vestibule is facing. I don't want my vestibule uphill.
Sure.
And I think I've been surprised a number of times by how far the little pea stream. What would you call them?
I call it pea stream. Yeah.
Pea streams. Yeah, how far they can spread. So I've had a few moments of panic where I think I've done a good job and it looks good, and then it starts to settle and it just creeps closer, and you're like, oh God, build a little dirt reinforcement wall. But no, if the boys can do it, we can too. And that's my mindset on everything. Yeah, I mean, I've lived out of my car a lot too, just like for fun, not
You've
out
done
of
what in your car?
lived out of.
Oh, lived out of, yeah.
Yeah, not like in a oh no way, but more in a free spirit who's traveling kind of way.
Sure.
So I've gotten really good at peeing in Gatorade bottles, and like you got to leave a little bit of air hole. Like you can't just suction it to the pee hole, because then air needs to get out as stuff goes in. That's just gonna cause it all to go over. If you leave a little air hole, it just all goes right in. And we were driving home to New York for the wedding, and like I know how much time it'll add to have to get off the highway to make a bathroom break.
While the car is moving.
My husband's driving, and I'm in shotgun.
And he goes, "That's my future wife."
He's like, He's like, "I'll pull over. I will stop at a gas station." I'm like, "We don't have time." I'm like taking the Gatorade bottle out of the window and like dumping it as the car is going. So that's my biggest fault after Thru-Hiking is like I have lost all shame around it. I'm just like everyone does it.
Thru-Hiking makes you so weird.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't done a long distance trail since 4 years ago, but it never goes away.
No.
Those types of things. Yeah.
But you know what? Show them those traits before they marry you, and if they still do, great.
So much dating advice on this episode.
I know. This is girl stuff 5.0. Okay. Any other any standout animal stories from the Colorado Trail? Any
Yeah, I mean I saw a ton of moose.
Really?
A ton of moose. Yeah. Probably like 12.
Wow.
There was one night that I truly got to have dinner with a moose. It was really special. Yeah.
Did he cook?
No. I know.
Imagine those.
But yeah, I was at this one campsite on a river, a creek. And this, the moose was maybe 50 or 100 feet, yards, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, a safe distance away. Could it have come at me? For sure. But I was just sitting there, and there were a couple other people around, and we were like, whoa, that's a moose. And it was just grazing, the water was maybe a foot or two deep, and so it was just grazing at the bottom of that and pulling up all the algae and eating it. And we just kind of cooked our dinners there and watched it for a good 20 minutes, and it just kind of did its thing, and then it walked away. But I was like, yeah, that was so special. So,
rocks.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow, that's nice.
Yeah.
Did you have any moose experiences, Chaunce?
Yeah, I had a scary one on the Colorado. Well, scary. I thought it was a black bear because I wasn't wearing my glasses. And then as I got closer, I saw it was a mega large moose. Trail was on a slant, and it was on the uphill, and it was kind of walking uphill towards us.
It had the upper ground.
So I walked downhill. We walked downhill into the brush to get around it and give space and get back up onto the trail. I guess it doubled back, sneaky moose. And so we finally come out of the brush onto the trail, and it's just standing there, just looking at us,
Got you, motherfucker.
in what I would describe as an aggressive manner.
Yeah.
I don't know, or I'm paranoid. And so we back hiked 2 miles because it just it looked like it wasn't. I don't know. It psyched us out. What fucking moose psychs you out and makes it look like it's going one way and then doubles back when it sees that you're giving it space to meet you right where it was okay, fine, you can have this part of trail. I'll hike 2 miles back. I'll sleep on the side of the whatever, and you do you.
They can be scary for sure.
Yeah. My coolest was I saw one. We were on a pontoon on Grand Lake, and I saw one swim across the length of the lake. And we kept our distance because we didn't want to freak it out. I didn't even know they could swim, but we're on this pontoon boat, kind of just it's over there, and we're just slowly cruising along parallel to it, and we just watch it swim across this entire fucking lake. And it just comes out on the other side, shakes off, and crosses the highway.
Wow.
So that was nuts because you don't see it when it's swimming. You just see a head, and you're like, oh, what is that? And you're like, fuck, there's a moose in the water.
Wow.
Nuts. But yeah, I've all good things.
Yeah.
They're good boys.
I've had a lot of cool wildlife experiences on trail, but the one that always gets people is a raccoon in town at Shaw's.
Really?
Yeah, that's the story that always cracks people up. It was just, I was camping it in the backyard of Shaw's, and got a pizza from town that night and didn't finish it. And so I set it out like, again, in my vestibule. I didn't pee on the pizza. It was in another part of the vestibule. But, like, set it on my pack thinking that it would be fine because we're in town, you know? And then in the middle of the night, oh, no, it was a skunk. It was a skunk.
Oh, that's even worse.
Yes.
I would have brought that raccoon in and grilled it.
Yeah. No, it was a skunk, and that was why I was so freaked out. But in the middle of the night, I just hear the skunk going,
Aww.
and I was like, damn it, I wanted that pizza, you know? And I was like, what do I do? But I was,
Get out
I
of
was
here.
like, no, I can't risk being skunked. But it went at it for probably 4 hours.
Were there any
4
untouched
hours.
slices?
In your vestibule?
Yeah.
Brother.
Yeah.
I kind
And
of
so-
maybe would have liked that.
Why?
I don't know. They're so cute. And, like, usually, like, you don't want
They
to...
can fuck you up.
Yeah, but if you're just laying there and, like, it came to you, you're not, I don't think, a threat.
I am
Consider-
not thinking that in the moment. I'm thinking I'm looking right up this thing's asshole and it's about to get me.
Well, what are you going to do? Try to get it to go away? Then it's going to get you.
Say, shoot.
You just got to stay real quiet and just watch it. Just,
My main thought was just that I wanted my pizza, and I was pissed at it.
were there any seemingly untouched slices in the morning?
No, I'm pretty sure that it ate all of it.
Okay, I was going to ask if you ate any after.
No.
Because I feel like a hiker thing to do would be to say, like, well, that
That's
one doesn't look
rancid.
touched.
I can't imagine. Couldn't you get sick from that?
Probably.
I mean, at that point,
Do
you only have
skunks
100
carry
miles to
diseases?
go.
Let's Google that.
Oh,
Do
yeah, that's a
skunks carry
Googleable.
diseases? Do skunks carry
never heard of a rabid skunk.
diseases?
I was gonna say, they
Neither do
probably
I.
have rabies.
My brother got skunked once when we were young, but that's because there was a skunk under my dad's car, and he thought it was our cat. So he was trying to pull it out from under the car.
It's like a classic skunk prank.
Skunks
That's a
don't
good
like
one.
that. Yes, skunks are significant carriers of various diseases and parasites that threaten humans and pets, most notably rabies. They are responsible for over 29% of reported rabies cases. So,
Oh.
diseases, other serious diseases carried by skunks include distemper, leptospirosis, tularemia, which is rabbit fever, and canine hepatitis.
Is thievery one of the things that they
Well,
say?
I'm wondering what distemper is. Does that just mean like it's not happy?
I think it's a thing. I think it's a thing.
It's a serious disease, apparently.
Let's Google that one.
What is distemper? Zach's not here. We can do whatever we want.
Highly contagious and often fatal viral disease attacking the respiratory, gastrointestinal, and nervous systems of dogs, ferrets, and wildlife.
All right. Well.
Does
that-
Zach normally not approve of Googling?
Oh no,
Well,
he's so.
episode?
I just like to make fun of him when I can. He would be googling it too. It's just an excuse to talk shit about him.
This feels like drama.
No,
I don't need an excuse.
I just love talking shit about him. We love you, Zach. Okay. Okay, moving slowly along, but surely.
Yes.
I just want to cover some of the things that stood out in the show notes
Sure.
before we wrap, which is we talked about spirituality and backpacking. The better access a zip code has to trails, the less likely its population is to go to church, temple, etc.
Yeah, isn't that a fun fact?
Why do you think that is?
So, I didn't do the research, but I think that it makes good sense, because let me put it this way: the people that I have met on trail, especially like when I was doing this independent study on the spirituality of backpacking and explaining what I was doing, never batted an eye, and it makes a lot of sense to people. And not only that, but the people that I've met over the span of all of these hikes, I think definitely feel a spiritual component out there. I would even go so far as to argue that that's why post-trail depression hits hikers really hard, is because I think that if you feel connected spiritually out there one way or another, whether that's like with, you know, what you would define as God, or just like I feel like Mount Katahdin is a thin space, like anywhere on that spectrum, and then you go back to your off-trail life, like of course that's going to be very jarring because you're not going to feel as spiritually connected. So yeah, I think that stat makes good sense. That was something, that was a dissertation that someone else wrote that I haven't read, but like I read that statistic, I want to say it was in a USA Today article or something like that. And yeah, I think it makes good sense because as a faith leader, I have to say, of course, that it's unfortunate. Like, I wish that more people were going to church or temple or like belonging to these spiritual communities. I think that it is, I think that someone's spiritual well-being is just as important as their financial well-being, social well-being, physical well-being, all these things. And yet it's really unattended to because there is this stigma in our culture and in our society today around these things, especially with young people. But for whatever reason, I mean, I can think of a lot of reasons, but people feel very connected spiritually when they're outdoors. And so if that's where people are going to get their spiritual needs met, then of course they're not going to seeking out organized religion. Yeah.
I definitely think there's something to be said, too, about in rural living, there not being so many places to gather.
Yeah.
And talk about a better community space than a place where the folks who live 10 miles from you that you never get to see, you see them every Sunday. You know, it's something to do. The people you care about, you go for years. Folks are always showing up. I mean, at the very least, if you don't subscribe to the religious aspect of things, I think anybody can understand a place to go on a nice day, on a weekend, and go see your friends is always going to be enjoyable.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Fun fact, in the South, they used to have what was called circuit riders in the areas that the trail goes through because there wasn't like a big enough town near any of these places, and there weren't enough people to preach in the churches to cover all these small communities. So what they ended up doing was like a preacher would go on a horse and be a circuit rider, and he would ride around in a circuit to a loop of different churches and preach on Sundays at the different churches. And then on the off Sundays, they would have different people like do readings from the communities. But they had found that people weren't going as frequently anyway because they had like, I don't know, fucking shit to do on the farm. And so it like fit that lifestyle very well to have these circuit riders.
Do you think that they knew how to ride a horse first, or did they have to teach?
Well, everyone knew how to ride a horse. There weren't cars.
Oh, back then.
It was like the 1600s. Everyone's riding. Everyone has a horse.
No one reads, everyone rides horses.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
will say that still kind of exists in some capacities today in rural communities because there's just a shortage of clergy, a shortage of pastors. And so there are some pastors that are still like, you know, it's called a multi-point parish where you preach at this service at 7:30 and then the next one at 9 and the next one at 10:30 and 11 and it
sounds exhausting.
I do not wish that for myself.
Does Jesus have good mileage reimbursement?
Does what?
Does Jesus have good mileage reimbursement?
The church does, yeah.
There you go.
My church does.
Is yours like a once a Sunday? Like mine was like a once a Sunday. Like there was no, like you don't go another day. It's just like Sunday, 10 a.m. this shit happens. But now like I've been to other ones where it's like we've got the Wednesday service, we've got the Thursday service, we've got 2 on Saturday and Sunday. Is it hard to like bring that level of enthusiasm for the same spiel to like 8 different things in a week?
That's a funny question. I think because they're different, at least the church that I'm at this year for my internship, we do things throughout the week, but like our Sunday morning service, so the sermon that I'm going to preach on Sunday morning, yes, there's 2 services at 8 and 10 a.m., but I'm not preaching that at our Wednesday night Lenten service or at Bible study or at the women's group or something. So yes, there's different gatherings, but they're all very different. So in that way, I would say it's easy to drum up quote unquote enthusiasm because it's always different. Yeah.
And this is when you said you have like a Colorado Trail tidbit tied in?
Yeah, that's I guess I didn't fully answer the question earlier about like how do I incorporate trail stuff into my preaching. So this coming Sunday, again, but now we're getting back into church stuff. I think we're supposed to be winding down, but
we don't have.
Okay,
please, I run the show.
There's no rules.
We do whatever I want.
There's no rules around here, but okay. So a lot of churches follow what's called the lectionary, or the Revised Common Lectionary is the one that we use. That's common, and that is so like the Presbyterians use it. I'm pretty sure Catholics even use it. Lutherans use it, and that is there's 3 different years: year A, B, and C. And year A is Matthew, year B is Mark, year C is Luke. This year we're in the year of Matthew. John is sprinkled in there throughout. And a lot of churches use this, again, because it, like, emphasizes Christian unity. And so the idea being that the gospel passage that one church hears is the same gospel passage that the church down the road hears, is the same gospel passage that the church across the world hears. And so... This coming Sunday, the gospel passage is John chapter 3, which is where a really famous verse comes, John 3:16, for God so loved the world, that, probably a lot of people hear about.
Forever 21 used to have that on the bottom of their shopping bags. Did you ever notice that?
Yes.
Blew my mind one time. I was like, what the fuck?
I know. I was like, is Forever 21 Christian? I remember seeing that in middle school. The first time that I preached on John Free, I was so tempted to throw that in there, but I was like, no one's going to appreciate this except for me.
That would have been such an awesome wrap-up. And before I send you guys off, visit your local Forever 21.
Visit your Forever 21. But, okay, so this coming Sunday, the passage is John chapter 3, which is the story of Nicodemus, who's a leader of the Pharisees, a Jewish leader, who goes to Jesus in the middle of the night and kind of says, like, what's going on? Like, how are you this? Like, I see that, you are divinely inspired, all these things, like, but how is this truly possible, and Jesus tries to explain it to him, and he just, like, gets more and more confused with the language that Jesus uses, and eventually it takes a few times for Nicodemus to understand what's happening, whereas other characters that we see throughout the Gospels that encounter Jesus for the first time, such as the woman at the well, which is another common story at the popular story. At the beginning of that, she doesn't know who Jesus is, and then by the end, she, like, is able to understand it. Nicodemus, on the other hand, it takes some time. He really has to, like, sit with it and be patient. And so one of the ways that I'm talking about the trail this coming Sunday is, again, referring back to my friend on the Colorado Trail who was gay and didn't understand, but the concept of being welcomed into a church as an openly gay man was, like, very novel for him, very new. And it was, whoa, is this even possible? And so just the idea and understanding that people are at all different points in their journey of, if they're on a journey, and not to say that you have to be on a journey at all, but if you are on a journey of, like, understanding what the gospel is, that there's, like, different points that you can be on that, and that's totally okay, and it's not, hey, you have to understand this right away or else type of thing, but sometimes it takes time. And so that's one way that I'm preaching on it or incorporating it into this coming Sunday sermon. But another way that I talk about it a lot is with the holiday of Pentecost, which is shortly after Easter, and it's kind of the celebration of the early Christian community, and when the church was really, like, starting to become a movement, and a lot of people were getting on board, and they were selling their possessions and living in community and living very simply and together and relying on one another for their needs. And I always talk about how the trail is the closest thing that I've ever found to the early Christian community as it is described in Acts, because we are out there, and it doesn't matter if you have a PhD or if you dropped out of high school, like, we're all in this together, and not only that, but we're relying on the wisdom that each other has to help, like, our foot blisters, and, if you need an extra packet of ramen at night, I got one type of thing, and it doesn't matter who you are, but we're all out here supporting each other. There's really something special and beautiful about that, and I haven't found it anywhere else quite like the trail, but it's very similar to what is described as the early Christian community.
Yeah. It's a cool parallel.
Yeah.
I could sit through an hour of that. Okay, a fun transition. We'll end it on this one. I have in the show notes, would be happy to talk about sex.
Oh, that's so funny.
We're better to transition to.
That's a hard segue.
I mean, it's a great one.
I have whiplash from me talking about my sermon this coming Sunday.
Have you had sex on trail?
Okay, I think I wrote that. So for the listener, the reason why this episode came about was because when Backpacker Radio was putting out the call for people to be on the girl stuff episode, I said, sure, I'm happy to, and then it turned into a solo interview. And I think that was when I said, like, yeah, like, I'm happy to talk about sex openly. I think that was going to be if I was an anonymous person and not here representing.
Not when Dr. S is listening.
It's not him that I'm worried about so much as a bishop who has a say over my first call, my ordination.
A bishop wouldn't like that?
I can't say that maybe it would be, like, their favorite thing ever.
Are they anti-premarital?
No, it's not that at all. But, like, if I can... gosh.
So glad this went this way.
Get it together, Lyndsay. I am happy to talk about the concept of sex. I don't think I can talk about like my personal sex life.
I'd love to hear what you have to say about the concept of sex.
What's your philosophy?
So please, now that you've said you're happy to talk about it, tell me about the concept of sex.
What do you want to know?
Open-ended?
Everything.
You take me where you want to go.
Oh, I'm dying. Okay. I guess. Okay, get it together. All right. If it's helpful for anyone to hear, I mean, you just brought up the concept of premarital sex. I think it's fine.
All right, we got the seal of approval.
I don't. And I just.
Kudos to you for even trying to take this seriously, because I didn't expect you to actually try to answer that question.
I just learned a lot.
The vicar says it's okay.
She said it's good. Dr. S, you listening?
He knows.
You know.
He knows what's up. Listen, I don't think we have many bishops listening, if it helps. I think we've scared them all away.
If your bishop's made it this far.
I am the only Lyndsay Monsen in the world that like spells it this way, and so this is going to be very easily Googleable. Like if a congregation is looking to call me in the future.
Dude, I've had this fear for the past 9 years about my own self.
Put the podcast on.
Someone's like, but you're not like up for ordination in the church.
How do you know? Do I not give that vibe?
I didn't say that. But if someone's like 2 hours into this podcast and they're like, here's our potential candidate, and then she's talking about this.
I will let you know
that.
that.
Some flags.
Jess, call back. I will let you know that Charles Chauncey was once the most influential religious leader in New England.
Is that a relative?
I learned this
of yours?
today.
Yeah, he came up in the book I was reading. I told her that before the episode. I was like, you'd never know. That's great. What a great place to end. Any trail plans coming up? What's next?
Oh gosh, that's a great question. I have been yearning to do the PCT ever since I touched the Katahdin sign. I had like what I was starting to call the opposite of post-trail depression, but like pre-trail yearning, where it was all I could think about every day. And then that was the plan, was to do it next year in 27, that I was going to take some time off in between seminary and what's called first call, like your first job as a pastor. And that has recently, as of like a month ago, changed. This is another longer story, but I was recently arrested for...
What the fuck? Oh, we were going to end the episode there.
Oh my gosh, okay, let me clarify.
It's a crazy
quickly.
lore drop at the 2 hour mark.
Let me clarify quickly.
The trajectory of the past 5 minutes has been insane.
This is a fever dream. I was arrested for civil disobedience.
I
was protesting ICE.
There we go.
I was
so good of you.
protesting ICE.
Well, civil disobedience is the coolest way to get arrested,
Yes.
for sure.
And so I was arrested.
Wait, were you one of those like viral clips where they're just like aggressively beating the shit out of you for no reason? It's very
okay, so
not cool.
No, it wasn't a viral clip. My case has now been dismissed. The charges were dropped, so I can talk more freely about it. Beforehand, my lawyers were recommending to
not go on a podcast and disclose it.
To not go on a podcast and talk a ton about it. But here's a picture. I was in my collar and everything.
That was another question I was going to ask. I want to see your outfit.
Oh yeah, I thought about wearing it.
Shut up.
I thought about wearing
This is a cool photo.
Yeah, that's like my Bernie Sanders photo if I ever run for office.
You gotta blow this up. I gotta show the internet. YouTube.
You look awesome. That is
you're mean
one
mugging.
pissed lady.
Yeah.
That is sick.
Yeah.
This is a Reverend Scorn. This
Yeah.
is a Scorn.
A Reverend Scorn.
So anyway, so that happened within the last month or so. Like I said, all the charges were dismissed. I had my first court appearance last week, and since I was arrested for criminal trespassing, the party that complained and showed the cops didn't show up, and so if they don't show up to court, then the case gets dismissed and all the charges were dropped. But that was a very, very life-changing experience for me. I think that Martin Luther King Jr., I'm pretty sure it was him, once said that someone's first time inside of a jail cell for a just cause can be akin to a baptism, like really life-changing and all these things. And I really felt that. And yeah, it was I was held overnight in jail and everything.
Backtrack. Let's start from the protest. Walk me through the whole experience.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The whole experience. So, this was at a Target. It was at a Target in the West Loop neighborhood of Chicago. And again, I know that this is fine. It's not. Okay, what I was going to say is that I know that it's one of the cardinal rules of the trail to not talk about politics, and so I respect that and everything. But also I've preached on this, and so if I have preached on it and from a pulpit where theoretically separation of church and state and all of those things, I think that can apply here as far as the no politics on trail rule. But so it was at a Target. And the reason I had been at other actions at Target, and this isn't new for me. This was my first time being arrested, but I have risked arrest several times before. I chained myself to the White House when I was living in Washington D.C. to protest a pipeline and everything.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like there's another side to Lyndsay that we have not uncovered yet. That's
she was like, I've lived abroad. I'm a vicar. I
pee in my tent. Also, I've chained myself to
the White House.
Sorry, who are you?
To a gate of the White House. But this is what I'm saying, where I'm like, how do I even describe myself?
Yeah, where do you fit that in on the Hinge date?
I am just a girl. I am just a girl. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'll get to the whole story in a second, but it was when I was driving away from court the other day, and I was in my collar and everything, and I was driving to a retreat that I have to do this year as part of an internship, but I was just blasting All Too Well by the 10
oh my
minute
god, the
version of
10 minutes?
Well,
Stop.
of course. And I was like, this is so ridiculous. I'm like, who am I right now? I am in a pastoral collar. I just left court.
Blasting the T-Swift as you leave court.
And all I want to do
for
is
getting
scream,
arrested at the Target.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
You brought me to wheeze.
Okay. But back to the protest. You good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm just excited.
Okay. I feel like we've been saying that we're wrapping up for
we
2
lie.
years now.
We lie.
We lie.
Okay, so the protest was at a Target, and I had been at other actions at Targets leading up to this, because the whole idea being that everything that had been going on in Minnesota earlier this winter, and Target is the largest corporation there. It's the 4th largest employer in the state. They allowed Greg Bovino to film propaganda in their store. 2 of their employees were detained while on shift. All of these things. Not only that, but in 2020, Target had a social contract after the murder of George Floyd. They really stepped up and all of these things. And then last year, after Trump was elected, they walked back on their DEI commitments, all of these things, and just kind of what is even going on right now, Target type of thing, show some integrity here. Leading up to the action, we did a dress rehearsal and everything, and everyone kind of went around and said, why Target, why this action, why are you willing to put your body on the line right now for this cause? And of course, I can get into this, but everything going on with ICE right now, I think is just sin in its ugliest form, and is against everything that my faith has taught me is correct. But one of the other things that I said was just that Target is such a big corporation, and where they go, others will follow, and that matters right now. And so that was kind of the why Target for me. But yeah, so again, like I said, have been a part of some of these other actions that are often faith-led. It's often faith leaders, at least in Chicago, that have been out here for months outside of the ICE detention, illegal ICE detention facility, concentration camp in Broadview, Illinois, protesting and trying to bring spiritual care into the detainees, trying to bring communion and all these things, and literally being arrested for doing so. And some of the actions at Target have been the strategy was to kind of just pretend to shop around and then someone starts playing a guitar or drumming, and then we all gather together and there's a little rally and everything, and people are speaking about why you should be supporting Target right now with everything going on, and yeah, just praying together and whatnot. And then at this action specifically, those of us that had agreed ahead of time that we were willing to put our bodies on the line for this, I went into it knowing that there was a very good chance that I was going to get arrested. Those of us that had agreed to be on this team, as soon as, of course, immediately target, and the cops knew that we were coming. They were there as soon as we showed up. So we immediately get escorted outside as soon as people try to start this rally. And so, but those of us who had agreed to be on this team, as soon as we were escorted outside, linked arms and just held up these signs that said, "This target is now closed due to its cooperation with ICE." And we stood there and we held these signs and we turned people away from shopping. But of course, like I said, the cops were already there. And so yeah, I again think that this is all fine to share. I won't go into too much detail, but we stood there for maybe just a few minutes, and then the cops said, like, if you don't move right now, you will be under arrest. And again, went into it knowing that was going to be the case, and I was fully prepared. And it was a really great group that was organizing this too, a group called the People's Lobby, based out of Chicago. And just felt the cop grab one hand and put a handcuff around it, and then the next. And I had prepared ahead of time to go limp. So when you make cops drag you outside, because it's just a really powerful visual instead of willingly walking to the car. So they dragged me out to the car, and I was held overnight for about 8 hours, transferred to a second facility in the middle of the night to get fingerprinted and a mugshot taken of me, which I can't find anywhere.
Oh, shoot.
I know, and I'm in my collar and everything.
Yeah, but that photo's still so
I know,
cool.
yeah. I remember the photographer taking that photo and, locking eyes with him and everything. And I knew that he was an independent journalist. He wasn't because we got picked up. We were in the New York Times and the Chicago Tribune, all these places, NPR. And I knew that he was an independent photographer, and I was like, I better find that picture. And luckily I did. The internet did its thing, and I found him on Instagram. But yeah, I can't find the mugshot, which is okay. Eventually I was released about 8 hours later. But the point to the story being that in the middle of the night at 1 a.m., I still don't even really have the words to describe this or the language to put to my experience. But yeah, just something really came over me that I was like, Thru-Hiking is, at least the way that I view it, this is not the case for every person, but my Thru-Hiking experience so far has been very selfish, and it has relied on a lot of other people to make it happen, people to watch my dog and water my plants and all of these things, and taking time away from the world. And I was like, there's no way that I can justify right now with what is going on in the world and my place in it as a faith leader. There's no way that I think I could possibly justify taking 5 or 6 months off next year to go do the PCT. And just had a lot of clarity in that moment that it was always going to be very hard for me if I went to go do a trail to come back into first call, my seminary experience leading up to this point has really propelled me, and there's been a lot of momentum to go and do the dang thing, and I was gonna somehow interrupt that to go do this other hike, and come back later and do it. I never knew how that was gonna go, but then having this really, really life-changing experience, I was like, there's no way that I can possibly justify that, and not only that, but also quite frankly that I just feel incredibly called to this work. I know that like you guys were saying earlier, you don't meet people like me who are becoming pastors every day, and I know that, and that's not to toot my own horn or anything, but for a long time, ever since I was 15 years old, people were telling me that they thought I would make a great pastor, and I really ran from it for a while because I was so scared of how that would change how people view me, that I was so scared of the, I won't swear in front of you anymore type of thing, or just it's not cool. I know that it's not cool.
You won't tell us about having sex on trail, but it's fine.
But eventually I realized that, okay, yes, it might change the way that people view me, but also what if I can change the way that people view church, And so I know that I really need to do this work in this moment, and for a while there, I was also super unclear because once you graduate seminary, you go into something called the first call process, which is where you have to geographically decide where you want to be a pastor. And for a long time, I didn't know where I wanted that to be. I was like, do I want to be in the mountains and try to do this outdoor ministry thing? Like, what do I want to do? But after this experience, I just had a lot of clarity of no, like, actually, I am a Chicagoan. This city is where I need to be. This is the work that I need to be doing. Fighting injustice right now at a time when it is running rampant. And, my faith has taught me to welcome the stranger and love my neighbor. And what's happening right now in our country is the complete opposite of that. And there's no way that I can, for myself, justify going to do the PCT next year. So really, really long-winded answer to say, I don't know what my next hike is going to be.
Sure.
Yeah.
Was it like real police that detained you and brought you to like a real police station, or was it ICE taking you to like an ICE facility?
No. ICE was not on the ground. No, it was the Chicago Police Department.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a crazy story. Well, hey, good on you for being out there fighting the good fight.
PCT will always be there.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not going anywhere.
We hope.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
fight for it.
Yeah. They're just going to keep cutting sections off the border until you have to start in Tehachapi.
Protect public lands.
But whatever, it's fine. Cool. Last question is our stay salty question presented by LMNT. Use our code or our URL, sorry, drinklmnt.com/trek. So drinklmnt.com/trek for our URL. You'll get a free sample pack with a purchase. And the stay salty question is, what is your hottest take in the world of backpacking or outdoors at large?
I think it's very similar to what I was just saying, that it's hard to say don't bring politics into the trail right now. It depends on what your definition of political is. If your definition of political is about just like what I think. Okay, let me back up. If it's about not following every news headline and all of those things, I completely understand that, and there will always be a need for people to be able to safely go into the outdoors and to escape from everything going on that has been as old as time. Jesus always went into the mountains to pray for a reason, you know what I mean? And that will always be important to escape from that noise. However, that being said, if your definition of political is about people's race or sexuality, then I have a really hard time saying that politics should not be a part of the trail, because if someone's safety is at stake, and if you're leading with hate, or if someone is out there being a bigot or any other thing that is making a hiker feel unsafe, and if somehow that crosses into the definition of politics for some people, I will always say that I'm happy to bring in politics to defend people's right to be out there. So that's probably my hottest take, is that and also just, I mean, kind of like what we were saying earlier about the PCT, that how can you be a thru hiker right now and not advocate for the safety and preservation of the outdoors, and that's political too. So I just get a little tired of that, I guess. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Here. Well, thank you so much for coming. This has been a very fun episode. I'm really glad we did it. Good. I learned a lot, and I think it'll be really exciting for our listeners to listen to as well. Yeah. And that's that. We will probably have Zach back for segments, so if you hear a different voice when that happens, it's a different day. Mm-hmm. But for now, bye.
Bye. Thank you.
As an addendum to the interview, we've got some plugs for Lyndsay Social.
Yes, I was just so excited by the end of it, and a little giggly that I forgot to ask where we can find her. So here is me doing right. You can follow Lyndsay on Instagram at Lyndsay Thru-Hikes. Lyndsay is spelled Lyndsay. I'm used to spelling it with an I and an E, so just be known there. And her recent sermons can be found at St. Paul VP. I believe that's also Instagram, but try searching it wherever. And she also mentions towards the end of the episode the sermon that she was going to do the following weekend, which is now in the past because we recorded this part after. But she has provided a link to that. If you are curious and want to hear it, it will be in the show notes.
Good stuff. To the Trek propaganda portion of today's show, I'm going to very briefly hit on both of these just because this first story is insane. Climber accused of manslaughter after leaving girlfriend near summit of Austria's highest peak by Kelly. 13 months after his girlfriend froze to death 50 meters from the summit of Austria's tallest peak, climber Thomas Plamberger, what a name, will stand trial today for manslaughter in Innsbruck, Austria. He is denied any wrongdoing. I want you guys to go read that one, so I'm not going to give you any more, but what a story. It sounds like it should be a movie.
Yeah. I could go either way on this one. I think it depends on more info, because if I was just doing a hike with someone and they went at a different pace or left early or something, and then something happened to me, I don't know if I would apply fault. However, in the setting of this hike and the technicality of it, if it's a 2-person job to do the hike, or if the other person doesn't have the skills to do the hike and that led to the reason that they did not make it out, I would certainly think that there was a certain level of fault involved if the person with the skills were the one to abandon the other. But I haven't dug too deep, so
Well, if you want to dig deeper,
I can go in there.
Head to the link in the show notes and you can dig. This next one is another news story, more local as in the U.S. Hiker rescued from the AT in the Smokies after emergency SOS by Katie. According to, we're now on first name basis with Katie and Kelly.
I'm so sad that she's going back to Pennsylvania.
The most sad person is Katie.
I was really like getting used to seeing her when I came in here, and I didn't know in what capacity she was here, but I just knew she was starting to just be here, and I was like, wow, is this going to be a thing where like I come in and I see Jess and I see Katie and it's just fun?
The positive challenge of having her here is that I realize the space is not accommodating for additional people. I think we're going to have to, we might be on limited time here at the studio.
You don't think you could just get another room?
At the point that I get another room, it's probably cheaper just to get like a real dedicated space.
Wow.
Yeah.
What is it? Oh, I don't even know what a real dedicated, if this isn't a real dedicated space, what is?
Just like not having isolated rooms. Like I would like my own space where I'm not sharing a toilet with 40 other people, and maybe a kitchen that has more than a microwave and
like a house?
Not a house, but like an actual kitchenette.
But you're not sharing a toilet, so you're going to have your own bathroom?
Yeah, a private bathroom.
The boss bathroom?
Not my personal bathroom, but like a Trek.
Oh, I thought you meant...
I'm sharing it with literally 40 people and the public.
I thought you meant you were tired of sharing it with Jess and Katie. Like, geez, someone's getting big for his britches.
Yeah, no, there's a dozen other people just in this suite, and then it's also the bank's bathroom. So
got it.
There's a lot of times where I have emergency shit situations, and the little red sign is on the door. So, yeah.
Okay.
I think pretty soon we'll be at a new office.
Wow.
The only problem is money.
Yeah, we've got such a good rate.
Not only a good rate, but to get like an upgrade in space is not cheap anywhere. No. So I don't want to leave downtown Golden because it is so nice. But
the more rooms you take up here, the less competition there is for that bathroom.
My primary competition is not in this suite. It's the bank.
Yeah.
So unless I take over the bank.
Dream big.
Yeah. At the point that I take over the bank, I'm just going to take over downtown Golden. Anyways. Katie. According to a release from the Tennessee National Guard, a flight crew successfully rescued a hiker suffering from severe cold weather injuries on Tuesday, February 24th, at Double Springs Gap Shelter in a remote section of Great Smoky Mountains National Park. You can get the full rundown. I'll just leave it there. We're doing short overviews today. Link in show notes. Okay. Question of the day. Is getting your car wash a diva behavior?
This needs context.
Yeah.
You did a YouTube, or you did an Insta, social promo.
Yep, video.
A trend.
Short video for the Instagrams.
Where a cup of coffee had to get thrown at your windshield. And then that was basically the video.
A cup of very creamy coffee.
You went and got a car wash after it.
Yeah. And you said that I was such a diva for doing that.
Yeah, just spray the front of your car with a hose if it's that unappealing.
first of all, I was long overdue for a car wash anyway, so that was a good excuse to do it. But fucking having like dairy crusted underneath the hood of your car, you need to proper wash it. You need to actually like rinse it out.
How many times a year do you get your car washed?
That vehicle, that's probably the second car wash we've ever had on it.
Okay. I didn't know if you were like getting because it seemed like a very small.
I think Jenna gets them more often
it.
on her primary vehicle, but she's in real estate. Like the perception, you can't roll up to your listing with a dirty car.
Yeah, but you're not in real estate.
I'm not in real estate, but
If anything, you look more legit with a dirty car.
I have a giant beard, which is red and scraggly, of course. But again, if it was just coffee, I would have felt differently about it. But like, you can't have dairy fucking molding on the roof of your car. That's disgusting. That's like hoarder. I don't care about my life behavior.
Park in the driveway and let it rain.
Let it rain. Oh, I'm controlling the weather now. No jokes there. All right.
I don't know.
Let it rain. John's solution is to just call the rain gods.
Yeah, just part the skies.
do
I don't
it,
know.
yeah.
I've had one car wash, and I've had my car for 8 years, and it was because Garrett offered it as a birthday present. And he'd offered it like several years prior. We're actually coming up on it because this is my birthday in real time is next weekend. But I think I've told this before. He started when we started dating offering to get my car detailed on my birthday as a birthday gift. And I, who's suspicious of everything, was like, this is a trap. Because my car is messy. Because like I would camp out of it. And
I like that you think your significant other is trying to trap you.
I'm suspicious of everything.
Does he have behaviors that make that okay?
No. But he doesn't like the level of messy that I can be. And I know that. And so when he says that, I think this is a trap because...
Is he a clean freak?
He used to be. He says that he lessened his clean freakness when he started dating me to match the scene. I think that's fucking not right.
I mean, that's a pro move on his behalf.
No, he's blaming me for now being messy.
Yeah,
I'm messy because you were.
But I'm not saying you are. I don't know your personal life that well. But if someone was like neurotically clean on that end of the spectrum and then their partner was a complete fucking mess, that I know I have a friend that got divorced largely because his wife was very type A. He's not even a mess. Anyways.
Well, anyway, I've made great strides in improving my cleanliness around the house. But because I would spend so much time in my car and I'd go camping and dirt would get in and there's sleeping pads and all kinds of shit in the back and I would keep a backpack and I'd keep a sleeping bag and all do whatever. There'd end up being like empty water bottles by the foot well and you know how things accumulate. So I thought it was a trap because it's like in order for you to get my car detailed, I have to clean out my entire car. You're tricking me into work, and I'm not working at my birthday. So for about 3 years, I turned down this gift, and I said I don't want it. And so he thought there was some sort of holdup with my car where I was really sensitive about having something be done to it.
Yeah.
Until last year, he spelled out for me that because he mentioned it again, and I was like, finally, I was like, this is a trap. I'm not signing up for more work under the guise of a gift. And he was like, no, I meant that I would clean your car too. Like I would clean out all of it and then go get it and I was like, oh, if that's
I'm
the
still
case.
kind of hung up on the fact that you think it's a trap. That you would have to do like a light clean to get your car clean enough to be detailed.
Well, anyway, so now that I know the actual stipulations of the gift, I accept. Last year it got cleaned and detailed for my birthday. It was really nice. And the problem is that once January hit this year and it became 2026, it's almost my birthday clean.
Uh-huh.
So now every time I've got an empty vitamin water, I'm just chucking it in the footwell because I'm like, that's a March problem and it's not my March problem.
Request. Can we clip this conversation right here and then have the next scene be you doing like a cribs tour of your car?
Never. No.
I want to see what
Garrett's buddy details cars, and so that's who he takes it to because he's got a great rate. And I've actually intentionally not seen this friend since my birthday last year because he got to see how dirty and granted it was 8 years of filth accumulated. Like that looks like a really dirty interior of a car, but I won't go anywhere that this guy is now because he has basically seen my underwear drawer.
I mean, we have to do this.
No.
You have to show. You have to give the people.
No.
This is 10,000 times better.
I give you
than a
guys
foot
everything. You guys get so much of my personal life. You get so many details. You can't have this.
Can you show us the least dirty quadrant of your car? Like if it's like the back seat?
No. The answer is no. You could look at the outside. The outside's the least dirty quadrant.
Yeah. I mean, that's why you drive a white vehicle.
But that is why when you got a car wash, we're just having some coffee on the hood of your car. I'm like, this is what you do when a slight inconvenience happens. Like the smallest, a bird poops on your car and you go get a car wash?
I think that bird poop is less unsanitary than like dairy.
I can see now, like the fact that you brought up the dairy, I can see where you came from doing it. For me, I viewed it as like someone poured some Gatorade on the hood of your car and you went to get a car wash. That's why I called you a diva.
Yeah. I mean, in that perspective, yes, I understand it. It was just,
the dairy is a valid point.
Yeah, it made me laugh.
Dairy aside, yeah. Picture no dairy there and you went to do that.
Yeah.
That would be a little diva-ish.
We now have you've painted the picture of your vehicle standing also. But like I said, I'm definitely not the cleanest vehicle guy of all time, so I'm not going to throw shade at you. But I do really want to see the current state of your vehicle.
It's actually
Can
better.
I look at it without videotaping?
No. It's better than it was 2 weeks ago because we brought home groceries the other day, and I had Garrett grab a garbage bag to clear out the footwell.
Was there more than one garbage bag worth of trash in there?
Well, why do you think there's still trash in there?
So that didn't do the job, is what you're saying?
It did most of it.
That's amazing.
It's just empty. It's not like food. It's not like there's half a sandwich under the seat that's molding and there's bugs. It's like, does it matter if there's one empty vitamin water bottle or 20?
Yeah.
That's not like
in your
really
defense,
doing anything.
There probably is molding food in my vehicle. That's life.
I thought you were going to tell me that about mine.
No.
How dare you assume?
I don't. I would never.
Yeah, your car is definitely grosser.
It's mostly those little Belvita cookie crackers.
The other thing, if we're talking about things that really grind my gear, the other thing, though, in terms of lowering his cleanliness standard to match mine, is that he'll throw his fucking empty water bottles in my footwell, too. Because in his mind, if there's already shit there, why not add one more? And I'm like, this is my trash pit. I can throw my trash in my trash pit. You can't throw your trash in my trash pit. If I was in your car and I just chucked a bottle at your footwell, you wouldn't like it.
Does he keep his car pretty clean?
Yeah. And he's like, well, what, one amongst 50 you're going to notice? And it's like, no, it's the principle. It's the principle that
he's just trying to fit in.
This is my little den and I can shit in it, but you can't shit in my little den. It's mine.
I smell a clip coming.
So that's car stuff.
Yeah. Good. Perfect transition to Triple Crown of pies.
Yeah.
We're very food hungry, which is the best kind of hungry to be.
Pies are interesting because as someone who's born on Pi Day, 3.14.
Yes, of course.
You would think that
That's a birthday mention too. Pro move to work that in.
Guys, today is officially March 2nd. So as of yesterday, I've become unbearable because it is my birthday month. And
Are you still very excited about your birthday?
I didn't cry last year on my birthday, and that might be the first time since I turned 18.
Yeah.
Because there's just so many reasons to cry on your birthday between 18 and like 32.
But bridge the gap. Yeah, explain the paradox of you having like the birthday month complex, but also being so upset that you cry.
I like attention. I like positive attention specifically. I don't like negative attention. That crumbles me. I like positive attention, and I like when, like, I feel like I usually do what other people want to do, and I'm like the voice in the like when I'm standing in a circle of people and people are talking, I'm the one that's kind of standing there nodding, looking back and forth to the two people talking, waiting to like be included, and that part doesn't happen. And I get very in my head in social settings and things like that where I'm like, I'm in the group, but I don't feel like I'm a part of it. And so when it's your birthday, you get the attention and people like want to talk to you and be around you and do that sort of stuff.
You host a podcast. What are you talking about?
I just
literally people are excited. They walk through this door and they see your face.
That's different.
They get excited.
That's not day-to-day friends. I'm saying like in the day-to-day, like I just like the attention.
Okay.
And I like it being about me, and I like people being genuinely happy about me, and it feels really good. And so there's a little part of me that sparks joy every time March hits because I can shamelessly make it about me, and I have an excuse to do so.
Yeah.
And so I love my birthday, but
I applaud your candidness.
I don't know. When you turn 18, it's like, fuck, I'm an adult now. And then you turn 19 and it's your last year as a teenager. And it's like, shit, I'm getting old. And you turn 20 and it's like, I'm no longer a teenager. And then you turn 21 and you're like, oh my God, there's no big birthdays left apart from when I turn 26 and I can't be on my parents' health insurance anymore. Or I turn 50. And then you turn 22 and then it's like, I'm not 21 anymore. I'm getting old. I'm getting out of college. And you turn 23 and you're like, I'm almost 25. And this spirals. And then you turn 30 and that one was bad. But turning from 33 to 34, my house number growing up was 34, so I've got good feelings about that number. My favorite number's 3, so 33 I also had good feelings about. I feel like, and there's also nothing special about either one. So it's not like one of these moments where it's like my 20s are over, or I'm in my late 20s now, or I have no exciting birthdays left, or I'm not there's just nothing special about it. So it feels like it will probably be less traumatic to go through while also making everything about me. And that seems good. But to bring it back, as someone who's born on Pi Day,
we landed the plane.
I don't like pie that much. I would much rather a cookie cake, as we know.
How about cake?
No, I can do triple crown of pies.
No. I'm just saying pie or cake.
I get cake every time I go to the grocery store. Like, you know the part of the bakery where they have individually sliced cake?
Oh, yeah.
I'm the one that buys it.
But I picture you taking like 2 bites and then Garrett eating the rest.
No, Garrett doesn't like sweets, which makes it worse. So I get...
You eat a whole individual cake?
Sometimes it takes me 2 to 3 days.
Okay.
But I will get... And I will circle that one section aggressively for like 5 minutes, and Garrett's like, just pick the slice. And I'll bring it home. And if it's a bad slice, I'll throw it straight out. I won't humor a bad slice. I won't humor a cake that doesn't have good tasting frosting.
You're not getting like the personal cakes.
It's like a square slice. Like they make a sheet and they cut a square.
Yeah, okay.
And every single time we go to the grocery store, I buy one.
Okay. Describe your ideal bite ratio of cake to frosting.
It has to be a moist cake.
Yeah.
The frosting cannot be
vanilla or chocolate?
Too strong. Either funfetti or chocolate.
Okay.
Funfetti, vanilla cake, or funfetti cake, funfetti ice or frosting, or vanilla frosting. Really, I want one end of the spectrum or the other. Because if I go chocolate, it's chocolate cake, chocolate frosting. But it can't, like, I've gotten some cakes where it's dry, no good. I've gotten some where the frosting is like, you know the frosting on the cupcakes you bring to school for your kid's birthday? Mm-hmm. And it's not frosting that you would want. You like push it off the top because it tastes bad.
I don't know that.
There's some frosting that tastes bad.
Never experienced that, but yeah. I believe you.
I had a slice recently that had it like that, and it ruined the whole slice for me. I just need a good slice. Not a lot of things bring joy when you're not out hiking. So I need a good slice of cake.
My original question, ratio, frosting to cake.
It's totally dependent. It's totally dependent.
Chocolate on chocolate.
No, I know, but it has to be
moist,
the right...
Moist chocolate on chocolate.
All conditions are correct?
Yeah.
All conditions...
correct condition
If
cake.
all conditions are correct, I want the corner piece with the frosting that's on both sides of the corner.
Yeah.
But not the corner piece of cake, because I don't like the butts. So, like, imagine a middle piece of cake with that amount of frosting.
Okay.
And that's great for me. Like, for example, when they layer the frosting in between, so you get some everywhere. Otherwise, I'm rationing the frosting per bite throughout the whole thing to make sure that the frosting lasts.
Can you enjoy a full frosting bite?
Yeah.
It doesn't need cake on it?
I've got if I've got one of those little things of frosting that you get when you make the cake yourself, yeah, I'll put a spoon in that and sure. Okay. But anyway, pie.
Yeah, pie is the star
Not
of the
as
show.
exciting.
I agree, by the way.
Good. There are some that I do like though, and on Thanksgiving I'll get a little frisky. And so my first pie that I do like is an apple pie, but specifically like a caramel apple crumb pie. And I mean that in that the top of the pie is not typical top of pie crust behavior, but it's like a crumb, like a
got some
coffee
crunch,
cake,
got some texture.
Coffee cake texture, like that crumble on the top.
Yeah.
And then you get a really good place. You can drizzle a drizzle of caramel over that crumb. So the slice of pie with the warm baked apples inside, the crumble on top, and the caramel drizzle. Yes, thank you.
Okay.
I will have that if there's no cake as an option.
Yeah. I probably would have also gotten apple in the one spot, but this one is a Davis classic. My grandmother, R.I.P., made the best version of this. I think this is a nostalgia pick as opposed to like gun to my head actual favorite pie, but banana cream pie. Just reminds me of Davis family reunions and my grandmother making this pie. Yeah.
Okay. I've never had. I haven't had many pies because of my lack of interest. And
That's
usually they have one of my top 3 as an option, so I never
Yeah.
veer.
Yeah.
But I do have a surprise in mind.
Okay. Next one is, I'm picking this just because of the occasion that it represents, pumpkin pie.
God damn it.
Pumpkin pie.
Knew you would.
No one eats pumpkin pie outside of either Thanksgiving or Christmas. Do you eat pumpkin pie on Christmas? Is that I don't know if that's just a Davis thing or what.
No.
Specifically just Thanksgiving?
I don't think it tastes as good when it's not.
It doesn't.
Thanksgiving.
It doesn't, but it's still close enough. You're still in the holiday season that you get the pumpkin pie boost, which is important. But yeah, I love Thanksgiving very much, and pumpkin pie is maybe the most important icon of Thanksgiving. So for that reason, pumpkin pie.
The thing that's sad about pumpkin pie for me is your taste buds change allegedly every 7 years. And so your tastes change. And I used to be able to eat a lot of pumpkin pie. And now I find that I'm good after like a taste. Like I just want to feel what it feels like, and then I'm okay.
Yeah.
I miss the ability I used to have to just enjoy a full slice.
I'm with you. Pie's not my weak link. I'm never seeking it out. But if it's there, I will take advantage of it. We went to Julian on this recent hike. So basically, it wasn't Mom's. Where did we go? Maybe it was Mom's. Had the exact apple pie that you're describing. Like
Yeah, that's what I got when I was there. It was delightful.
Yeah, and it fucked. It was really good.
Yeah. Okay. My next one, I'm just trying to figure out how to word this, how to order this, because now that you took pumpkin, I've got to, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, my next one. This one is interesting because I have only ever had it one time, but I was delighted the time I had it. And this is a key lime pie. I had never tried it before. It sounds really weird. Why are there keys in your pie? How much lime? You know, it's green. Ew. But I was in Florida last year for my friend's birthday, and it was also, I believe, her dad's birthday around the same time, if I'm remembering that correctly. And we had gotten him a key lime pie because he likes it. And you got to be polite and have some when they serve it. And so I had some, and I remember just thinking, this is what this tastes like? This whole time I've been adverse to it and didn't want to try it. And this is what it tastes like? Yum. So key lime pie, in that I would try it again. And I thought it was very nice when I had it. I was in Florida when I had it. I think it might be a southern thing. So I intentionally haven't tried it again, being not in the South. But if I was in the South and someone were to serve it to me, I think I would like it.
I've never had key lime pie, I don't think.
But
my hot take is that all lime-related dishes are superior to everything lemon.
Do you drink limonade?
No, but I think that there's a huge
Huge opportunity.
a huge opportunity for limeade to overtake lemonade, and that's no shade to LMNT lemonade, which is my favorite.
Well, they haven't tried lime yet.
They have not tried lime. Lime is so good. I legitimately, I'm also coming from the perspective of, generally speaking, I don't like lemon. If you put lemon in a dish, to me it's overpowering, and I feel like I'm tasting it's like Listerine or something like that. Not Listerine, like cleaning agent.
What about pasta sauce? Because
No.
there's a really good lemon Alfredo sauce that I love, and Garrett won't go near it. And it's like if we both won't eat it, what's the point?
I've literally had many like restaurant meals ruined because I didn't read the ingredients close enough, and there's just too much lemon in it, and like it just ruins a dish for me. I've never once felt that there's been too much lime in anything in my entire life.
Okay.
I love margaritas so much. I could drink margaritas all day, every day, and never get sick of it.
I think if you ever find yourself in the South, you should try a key lime pie.
Yeah,
I
I'm sure
can't
it's
speak
awesome.
to it anywhere else. And I only think it's a Southern thing because the person that was near me when I had it said that, and I believed them full-heartedly. So if it hails from somewhere else, I mean, I'm sorry.
I can eat limes straight, not like with the skin. I'm not a psycho like you, but
What do you mean? Do you think I eat limes straight with skin? What kind of
No, but I
lizard
think-
do you think I am?
I think you eat lemons,
With the skin?
didn't you?
I did not eat lemon skin. I just ate a lot of lemons at that time.
I thought you were eating the peel too.
What kind of psychopath do you think I am?
Do you remember the context of this?
Yeah, I gave myself a stomach ulcer because
Yeah.
we were seeing if I could lose weight by having lemons because
There was no we involved here.
Yeah, we talked about it.
No, it was
we thought through the idea.
Here's what happened. I think this was like the third episode.
Yeah,
is-
so we can't quote this like fact because this is 9 years ago. Neither of us remember.
No, what I do remember is the guest saying that she lost a bunch of weight, like, and she
By
mentioned
cutting
it-
out lemons. And we said,
There-
well, what happens if you add lemons?
No, she said that she lost a bunch of weight by eating lemons, and you're like, you took a
No,
mental...
no. She had to gain weight to do the 7 summits. And so we asked, how did she gain weight? And she said she gained weight by cutting out lemons. And so we said,
There was no we.
then what happens if you add lemons?
It was you.
It's we. What happens if you add lemons? And I did it. And I ate a lot of lemons. I did. You thought the whole time that I was eating them just like skin and all?
Yeah. I think maybe I did think that. I've never... I assumed it took extreme measures to get a stomach ulcer.
Well, I mean, I was eating them like you'd eat an orange. I'd eat the centers. And I was making a lot of tea because I was at a desk job in person where it was just like I had an excuse to leave my desk and go to the coffee machine. But I don't drink coffee, so I'm just going to keep making hot water and lemon slices and then eating the middle of the lemon to see if I can get hot. And I got a stomach ulcer. But no, I wasn't eating the skin.
I mean, but ipso facto, if your stomach ulcer is not letting you eat food, lose weight. It worked.
Yeah, but the problem I'm having is that you thought
Yeah.
in 2018, and it's come till now to clarify that I was just biting through the skin of a lemon, chewing it up and swallowing it.
Have you seen the dude that eats like insanely bizarre foods on planes?
Yes.
Like the whole onions?
Yes.
It's in the range of possibilities, is what I'm trying
I
to
just
say.
don't know how we've made it this far without you being like, I've got some questions.
Oh, no, I have lots of questions all the time. This is in like the range of possibilities for you. Easily.
Wow. I'm glad to like create that much mystery, but no.
Mystery is a word.
No, that's not what happened.
'Kay.
Anyway,
Key lime pie.
yeah, key lime pie. My last one. This counts. It's got pie in the name.
Don't do it.
Shepherd's
Oh,
pie.
okay.
I was close to the other one.
Yeah.
But between the two of the other one, which shall not be named until you name it, if you do.
I will.
Between the two, I like shepherd's pie because, again, the pie crust doesn't do it much for me. The top of a shepherd's pie, though, is not pie crust. It's mashed potatoes. Come on.
Is that true? I haven't had
Yeah, shepherd's pie. It's a meat pie, and at the top is mashed potato.
Yeah. I'm
Freaking
I'm
phenomenal.
not a big mashed potato guy. Yeah, I know. Jenna feels the same way, trust me. For me, it's the worst potato. It's mush. It's baby food.
The worst potato?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god. Have we done Triple Crown of potatoes yet?
Ooh, put it on the board.
Put
it
that on the
board.
roster. Triple Crown of potatoes. What is
Good.
wrong with you?
Yeah, mashed potato. That's baby food. You're eating baby food.
And
I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. A little applesauce here and there is not such a bad thing.
I'm gonna find the equivalent of a mushy salad that you like, and then we'll see.
Mushy salad. I am a mushy salad. My last one, and you know what I'm going to say, chicken pot pie.
Yeah, that
Chicken-
was almost gonna be my last one.
Yeah. Chicken pot pie
Delicious.
is so good. No
Delightful.
one dislikes chicken pot pie.
But I prefer it when, like, recently, within the past month, I've gotten chicken pot pie delivery from Potbelly
Potbelly has chicken pot pie?
as a soup. Basically, it's just the inside without the pie crust.
Oh, that's
And then they
cheating.
give you crackers with
The
it. Which,
pie is the best part.
no, for me, the way they do it is the best because they take out the part that sucks, which is the pie crust.
Oh,
pie
I like the
crust
pie crust.
sucks.
No.
It's like pizza crust, but worse.
No, it's like buttery and flaky. It's amazing. If done correctly.
Yeah.
I've had bad, like, when people get fancy and try to do the homemade pie crust and they don't have like the baking background, that's where it gets a little bit dicey, but like those pre-made pie crusts are always very good.
No.
Point taken. Good.
Guessing no honorable mentions.
Yeah, nah.
Cool.
3's plenty.
Yeah.
Mailbag.
No bag. I was listening to your latest podcast with Andrew Skirka and Katie Gerber. Ooh, I almost said Kate, but then I said Katie. And then I slurred. I would love to hear a podcast on herbal teas for hiking. Oh my God, same. I enjoy drinking herbal infusions at home while hiking. They can have great flavor and provide beneficial nutrients, especially when infused overnight. I recently searched for ways to use herbs instead of highly processed electrolyte powders. I found few recipes, but would love more, especially some that are specifically designed for hikers. Thanks, Rebecca.
Yeah, I love that. I would like to learn more about herbs in general.
John Mackey, our Whole Foods
Yeah.
buddy, I still have not forgotten that he mentioned that he knows the guy that made Celestial Seasonings and that the guy lives in Boulder.
Yeah.
We need to tap into that.
For sure.
Because that is
You
that's
still
all
haven't
the
done the
herbal
tour,
tea I
have you?
drink. Of Celestial Seasonings?
Yeah.
No, I forgot about it.
It's in Boulder.
We need to get him on because I agree with Rebecca.
Yeah.
Herbal teas are great.
Yeah, that's a great call. Rachel, if you're still listening, I know you're not. Make it happen. And that's how a podcast works.
Speaking
You
of
tell your
Rachel-
producer on the podcast to make a guest appear at once.
No, you were the one with the connections. You've got to message him and be like, "Hey, it's the all-powerful Zach Davis of the track."
That is that's my formal
reaching
name in
into
emails.
your inbox
Yeah.
to ask for your connection there.
I'm just gonna now actually pass it to Rachel. Rachel T. Look at the rest of it later.
Speaking of Rachel, on this 5-star review, she put parentheses, "Am I dumb? What does that last sentence even mean?"
Ooh,
And I read the last sentence, and I don't know what it means either.
Well, now people are going to be hanging on the edge of their seats.
Yep.
This is from Charlie L. Hall. A good hang with great storytellers. I stumbled on Backpacker Radio looking for information on the Ice Age Trail and quickly fell down the rabbit hole of past episodes. As a journalist myself, I deeply appreciate Zach and Chaunce's interview style. They are fearless, empathetic, and genuinely passionate about not only the backpacking community, but the craft of making great audio. I agree.
Best
Thank
compliment
you.
ever.
It's a treat to hear these two skilled storytellers provide a platform for others to tell their one amazing tales.
Own.
And what does own mean?
Well, the E's right next to the W on the keyboard, so I'm imagining
I wasn't
it's a
sure if that was
typo.
a word that I'd never seen. But
No, I think he
OE.
meant to type
Got
own.
it. Got it. Best of all, Zach has recently tapered off on reading ChatGPT tokens back to the audience while asserting they are accurate in any way. I mean,
Do you know what that means?
yeah, it means I have been using ChatGPT as a resource to like fact check stuff, and that's a fair criticism. But I think the same could be said of the internet at large.
I mean, you Google something now and it gives you an AI overview,
Yeah,
and you don't even realize it until after you.
but especially early, I'd say AI, ChatGPT, the answers were fucking bonkers. I remember when it first came out and it was all the rage, and I was like asking it questions about backpacker radio and just thru-hiking in general, and it couldn't have been more wrong about
You
stuff.
remember we were like summarize backpacker radio for us, and it was like their two co-hosts, Chance and remember it gave
One
us
was like
the
Jennifer Farr Davis. Yeah, it was bad.
it gave us the funniest description of us
yeah.
ever. Do you remember that?
We were gonna go by those names.
Yeah.
I do remember.
The funny thing I had with it was with the mile by mile stuff, which I am still doing. It's burnout, so I go in and out of phases. But I'm in an in phase right now, which is why I'm talking about it more. But I was testing it out a few years ago with the research where I was like, it's not a tool to give me the answers, but maybe it could be a tool to prompt me into things to look in.
Yeah.
So I was going through like the 1700s in these different areas along the trail, and I was asking it like, give me a list of paper mills along the Appalachian Trail, in the towns along the Appalachian Trail. Give me a list of paper mills that existed,
To give you
or give me
Dunder
a list of grist mills or sawmills, or like, so that I can get super hyper focused into a specific one. And it gave back all this great research, and I'm like, oh my God, this is awesome. And I print it all out, and I start looking through it, and I'm like, these are all like variations of the same name. So I went back, and I'm like, hey, are these actual ones, or did you make these up? And it was like, It seems as though I might have manufactured, basically admitted to making it up.
Yeah.
Good times. I guess we're not using ChatGPT anymore because they are bad people.
Is that why? Oh, is that why the person's upset with it? Not because it's...
No. I think they're upset
hackers.
with it in general because of AI, but I guess them giving the government permission to surveil humans and make weapons that are not that remove any human aspect to them is something that they were willing to do, whereas the recent Claude in the internet, again, I'm not like watching the news very much, so I'm probably butchering this with everything, but my interpretation was that Anthropic was like, no, government, you can't use this to surveil humans, and you can't use this to create weapons that don't have any human run component to them. And then ChatGPT and others were like, yeah, okay. And people don't love that right now because that's a little scary.
I do know the CEO, founder of ChatGPT doesn't have the best reputation.
Oh, I thought you were saying you knew him.
No.
I was like, really?
No. Although not him, but it's funny. I've met a decent amount of the heavy hitters in the tech world from my previous life. He was not one of them.
So yeah.
Good. Thank you for that feedback. If you guys want to hear your review read on this podcast, head on over to Apple and leave us any number of stars.
Just not 1, 2, 3, or 4.
And screenshot your review. Send us an email at podcast@thetrek.co, and I will send you a sticker. Zach Davis. Until I can find someone else to take over the task to do it for me, I will be the one sending you stickers.
It's kind of charming, though.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's charming.
That's me not volunteering.
Yeah. I mean, I've got the little label
It's just
printing
so
machine.
easy for you to do it.
Yeah. It's so easy.
Compared to
It's so easy and necessary.
all that to say, Mara, how are you doing? We miss you. Your baby's really cute. Mara used to send the stickers, remember?
Yeah, we need someone like Mara to send the stickers.
We tried that. They didn't want to do anything.
Yeah, that's right.
So, sponsor mention.
Shout out to LMNT. We love LMNT so much. I drink at least one every day. When I'm in the sauna, I'm usually up to 2. Lemonade saved my life. They now have the 12-ounce cans with the sparkling stuff.
Yeah, the
This is the best
sparkling
we've
water
ever
they
had.
have now, just if you have tried their last iteration of sparkling water, this I feel very passionately about. If you have tried their last canned version, it was a fatter can than the one now. The ones now look like High Noons and standard other like alcohol seltzers you would get in the thin cans. Their last cans were fat cans, like this beer can if you're watching on YouTube. Those ones are really good for making margaritas. And if you were really fit and you were really depleted on salts, but in everyday life, maybe a little strong. These ones, I really think they've nailed the ratio. I'm really proud of them for going back and refining it, maybe for the average
Like it's
person.
your child.
No, I am, because it could be really good to be like, hey, we made this and we're going to stick to it. But it seems like they made a different version after feedback that like, hey, maybe not all of us are that fit. And these are the perfect ratio for me. I can actually drink them at my desk and enjoy them versus the old iteration where I drink it at my desk and literally punch myself in the face for not being more fit. Because that's why I tasted more salt, you know.
Probably edit this ad a little bit, but
No, I think it's a great ad read because it's saying that these are really good.
Yeah.
And they're good if you're on trail and they're good if you're not on trail. Whereas the old version was really good if you were on trail, but if you were more sedentary, you tasted a lot more of the salt. And I think they found a really good balance, and I'm proud of them for doing that. I think that's a genuine take that is more meaningful than some fucking bullshit. Don't you think? Don't you think?
I do think.
I think that's a great plug for them.
It's a really wonderful plug.
Yeah, they've refined it. They've
Yeah.
refined their recipe, and what they've came out with now tastes really good,
Yeah.
and I like it. Even at my desk when I'm not super fit, which I appreciate.
Yeah, it's
I don't need to open a can and be reminded that I'm like not working out much. So this is perfect.
It's 500 milligrams of sodium per 12 ounces, which is much closer to the ratio at which I mix them in. I usually dump a packet into about a liter, so pretty close there. But yeah, the sparkling cans are great. It's gonna be awesome for summer. A
Yeah.
hot day, you sweat your ass off, sitting there with a cold sparkling lemonade. Fuck yeah.
I can't stress this enough for any of my fun summer people that love to go outside and maybe partake in a little bit of alcohol. These are great mixers. Tequila, an element, equals margarita. But key there, you're hydrating while you're dehydrating, so that it neutralizes and you don't get the hangover. This was the song of my summer last year, and that was why the old cans were so good, because they were just so strong and great with tequila. But oh my God, it was my life hack, and they were perfect, and I never got hungover. And I can't wait for this summer to be the same, because that is really where they shine, is a summer bevy. Crack one by the pool on its own, crack one by the pool, pour a little tequila in. They are wonderful. Said what I said.
Get all your LMT goodness at drinklmnt.com/trek for a free sample pack with your order.
Paulie, don't let him make you cut any of that. I meant every word I said.
I definitely won't.
I think it was genuine.
It was so genuine.
I think they should be happy to have gotten that.
That
was true. That was true. That was spoken from the heart.
Yeah. No, they're going to IPO and use that as the propaganda to get off the ground.
I can't believe they haven't IPO'd yet. I mean, I can, but I just kind of assume everyone has.
We're officially at the end of the episode.
When we record segments back to back, it's like a lot of the same, and I need to find ways to spice it up so they don't get boring.
Yeah, that was Chaunce's
You get more of my personality.
Super big thank you to our Chuck Norris Award winners on Patreon. That is Alex and Misty with Navigators Crafting, Alex Kindle, Andrew Austin McDaniel, Bill Johnson, Brad and Blair from 13 Adventures, Brent Mullins, a.k.a. Cruzy, Brian Alsop, Carl Lobster Hood, Christopher Marshburn, Clinton Sittler, Coach from Marion Outdoors, Eric Casper,
The Friendly Ghost,
Eric Hoffman, Ethan Harwell Dunn, Jillian Daniels, Greg Knight, Greg Martin, Griffin, Hey, Would You Bring Me a Beer, Haley Buckingham, Jason Kaiser, Kristen Bell, B. Kristen Bell, Luke Netjez, Maddie in Arizona, Patrick C. in Seattle, Randy Sutherland, Rebecca Braveheart, Rural Juror, Sawyer Products, The St. Louis Shaman, Timothy Hahn, and Tracy Sugar. Thanks to our guy, Paulie, at Old Man Murph's Coffee Roasters. Go to ommcr.com. Get yourself some delicious beans. You can follow us on social at Backpacker Radio on Instagram and TikTok at Backpacker Pod on X, Facebook.com/Backpacker Radio. Oh, I guess we learned that we're also on Threads.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I've ever been on Threads.
I was, and then I deleted it. Not because it's not great. They should. It's the same app as Instagram, but different. It's like Instagram's Twitter. So the Instagram gives you these little clips from Threads to like get you, and then you click it and it switches your app, and I really don't like that. And so I deleted it because I didn't want it to just switch me every time. Yeah. And out of principle, I won't re-download it, but there's some of these like baits that bait me, and I want to know how it ends, but I won't re-download it. However, I have been on it.
Would you say they're masturbators?
They are masturbators, and I have been on Threads more in the past 5 years than I've been on Twitter. So I fully support us switching our last buffer slot from Twitter to Threads. I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know what we tweet about.
I actually looked at it today because Elise asked, because we have a limited number, it doesn't matter, but we were going to switch from X to Threads, and she asked if we could switch. So I wanted to see, like, oh, we must have a really active community on X. No, we don't.
No, what do you mean? The only reason we've ever done Twitter is because you like Twitter.
I do. I mean, I liked Twitter. It's changed a little bit. I will say I'm still addicted to X. I find it to be the best place for sports news, which is my primary reason for using it. But yeah,
I think at least 4 of the past 8 years we have been on Twitter. I'm not going to call it X. We've been on Twitter purely because you like Twitter.
Oh, I don't have a hand in anything that happens.
No,
in social media.
I know, but I think that we've continued to be on Twitter because you like Twitter.
Oh, yeah, no.
I don't think there's any value that we're driving from Twitter.
No, confirmed. They give you the analytics. It's like 80 people look at each post.
No, nothing. Like nothing.
Yeah.
Comes from there.
Yeah.
But I can't wait to see what we do on Threads.
More nothing, probably.
Yeah.
Unless you, listening to this, love Threads and you want to engage. Prove me wrong.
Yeah, literally write in and tell us why we should be more on Threads. I'll go in with an open mind.
Although I don't really do much social media nowadays.
You know what else I think is a trap? Sharing your thoughts in a blurb on a platform like that.
Yeah.
I've never got, like, the brief times I've tried to get into Twitter in college, and I feel the same way about Threads, you look back on it a year later and you read the shit that you said, and like while in the moment it made sense, you look back at it and you think, I am the cringiest, most awful, weirdest, like not awful like you say anything bad, but just why did I think that thought was important enough to share with the world?
Yeah.
I don't think anything good comes from it.
No, mine is the most embarrassing because it's just emotional commenting on Bears stuff. I'll comment on Bears Twitter during Bears games. It'll be like, trade Caleb Williams. We fucking suck. By the way, I love Caleb Williams. He's my favorite player alive right now, but I get emotional.
When me and Garrett started dating, I freaked him out because I could tell that he was like more like he was really into me.
Yeah.
You know, like I was the latter half of it. Not in a bad way, just like he very much had to make his feelings known. He was my manager. And so by the time that I knew he was into me, I knew he was into me. So I went through his Twitter and I told him I was doing that. And I was sending him screenshots of things I thought were kind of cringe.
Did he just go through and start deleting everything?
No, but he was sweating the whole time. But what I learned about him, the guy loves hockey, is that he spends a good percentage of his life, and I don't know how much of a percent it is, arguing with people on the internet about hockey.
Sure.
Like sometimes he can't talk because he's clapping back to someone from some other country about their take on one person on a hockey team and how they played.
Yeah.
And it'll occupy his night.
Yeah. Engaging in social media on any level is there's no win situation there. But doing it about professional sports is additionally funny. And as somebody who does that from time to time, yeah, of course it's the stupidest thing.
I mean, I think that's what we could be if we were on Reddit in the ultralight threads. Like, imagine we were that passionate in the ultralight threads.
Yeah, no, Reddit is a whole other level.
So
Anyways,
that's the episode.
Yeah. Subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow us on YouTube.
Hi, Internet.
That is it for today's show. Thank you so much for listening, and happy hiking.
Bye.